a surprise.
What? Is it a good surprise or a bad surprise, Jeff?
I've got a surprise for you and for everyone listening to Rage Select Podcast.
Hell yeah.
I am not tired this week.
What?
I got like a fair amount of sleep, and my bed was all like nice and warm, and it was cold last night, so I feel like I got that like really good hibernating sleep.
Hell yeah.
I've had like most of my giant coffee, and like, yeah, I'm feeling good.
Fully energized?
I'm feeling good. I'm
Let's
ready
see
to go.
how you are by the end of this podcast.
Well,
You're like, all right, everybody,
I only have a little bit of coffee left, so I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen, but we could go in optimistically.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Rage Select Podcast, right here on Rage Select. I'm Jeff.
I'm Amanda.
It's a weird week. We were just saying it's a real pinata of a week where you just hit the gaming news.
Hope for the best.
And then just all these different Tootsie Rolls and Fireballs and those little butterscotches and Smarties and shit come out.
I think I'm an alcoholic because you said Fireball and I went, like a shot? Like a shot of Fireball came out of your pinata?
Yeah, That's what, just little... We should make adult pinatas where when you break them, it's just those little like
shot, like Jello shots, but you
no, just like the little travel-sized
bottle,
like an airplane liquor bottle.
Just so we're clear, the horror of little tiny glass bottles plummeting from
no, but if you plastic. Like,
are they?
I think a lot of them are plastic now, or you could make them because they make that plastic that's like hard, that's kind of glassy, right? I mean, it's a pinata, and everybody's gonna get drunk anyway, so you know.
Yeah, why not get drunk with shards of glass all over?
Glass. Then you can put like a pony keg in there too, or something like that. Whoever busts it open gets the pony keg.
Nice. I love it.
That's it. We're shutting down Rage Select
Market, baby.
Yep. This is in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Pinatas full of booze.
That's
I was saying you could open a bar that was just that.
Yeah.
Like once an hour, we bring out the pinata full of booze. We can mix in a lot of candy so that it's not like super expensive.
Yeah.
But then we get all the drunks, and then drunks are swinging around sticks.
That's what we want.
With
Drunks
blindfolds
surrounding
on.
each other, swinging around sticks and or a baseball bat.
It's gonna be great. I'm gonna buy a lot of insurance. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be
so
fine.
many injuries. Hey man, what happened? Why do you have a black eye? Oh, I went to the pinata bar last night.
Barriata.
Oh my god. I'm in, man. I'm there.
Think of all the different character pinatas that you could make that people could hit that the people that they don't like. It'd be great. It'd be great. Well, speaking of hitting people with sticks, Amanda.
Yes.
I watched 2/3 of West Side Story.
How the first 2/3, or did you start at the end?
I started in midway. I was like, wait, you're a jet. You're a jet all the way. I already know what's going on here.
They meet. Let's move on.
Yeah. No. I watched the first 2/3 of it. I meant to finish it, but I just kind of ran out of time between all the other stuff that I was doing.
Yeah.
And the Spielberg one that's on HBO Max now, which I mean, I never I was watching Patrick Willem's video where he's just like lamenting nobody went to the theater to see West Side Story, and I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Quit doing that. The last thing in the world I want is more.
But my big fancy expensive movie needs to be seen on a big screen.
Nope. You can take that.
COVID isn't even real. Like, I don't know what I hate the hey, we're in the middle of a pandemic, but my art must be seen within a crowd of people all breathing the same recycled air.
Also, I mean, I don't know, Tenet was one thing, even though that movie turned out to be but I've seen West Side Story.
Yeah.
I've heard the songs of You didn't write new songs for West Side Story.
Yeah.
But, okay, I have a little bit of a mea culpa. I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the podcast before, but I remember talking with some people about Steven Spielberg's West Side Story and being like, why are you doing this? There is a version of West Side Story, and it's fine. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It's got the same songs.
It seems universally adored.
But then I watched it, and I actually went back and looked at some of the old footage from the old West Side Story, and I definitely get it. I don't know how long it's been since you've seen original West Side Story, but you know that
it's been a while because I didn't like it.
Fucking doing the things in America song, right? Like in the original movie, it's like they're on like a sound stage with some buildings in the back of it.
Yeah, it's very clearly
it's just like
a
kind of
sound
two groups like singing to each other. And in the new one, it like starts in their apartment and goes down the street through a fair, and they're going out in the middle of the street with the 50s cars, and people are stopping and going, what? And the kids are playing in the fire hydrant, and like everybody's got like super Technicolor outfits on,
Yeah.
and they're just dancing, and it was like, okay, well, this is way more
epic.
interesting to look at.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you ever watched In the Heights, like a lot of the dance numbers reminded me of like these kind of big, expansive, outdoors, creative, you know, and Steven Spielberg, I don't know, he's a little bit of a drip, but like he does know how to put a camera somewhere and move it well.
I've been getting a lot of shit lately because I don't love Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
I like his older stuff, but I think that he's a very safe director now.
Yes.
And so even when he's like big, grand, beautiful, flashing lights, it's like, wow, big, grand, Technicolor for a musical. How fucking riveting, Steven Spielberg.
Well, what do you want? Do you want David Lynch's West Side Story? Actually,
100%.
I would
Don't
totally
you
watch
ever,
it,
don't you dare say a bad thing about anything David Lynch could possibly
hold on.
do.
Is the main character a monkey? That's crazy. Maria's played by Kyle
MacLachlan.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Oh my god.
In drag.
Can you? Oh my god.
And
Oh
a
my god.
monkey.
Kyle MacLachlan in drag falling in love with a monkey. If you think I wouldn't watch that West Side Story, I am already.
At this point, fuck Steven Spielberg's West
Yeah,
Side Story.
right. Like,
The only other thing I wanted to say about it is it's 2 hours and 37 minutes long, and I think that's a problem because I think that one of the things that they did was add in a lot more backstory for the two romantic leads.
Yeah.
Who's I'm never good at this. Like, oh, do they have chemistry? And I'm like, I don't really know. But like the whole, I mean, for anybody who hasn't seen it, West Side Story is Romeo and Juliet, and like all the shit that happens in Romeo and Juliet really hinges on the fact that these two kids are in fucking like crazy love with each other.
yeah.
And by adding so much more story, it like dilutes the just single-minded focus that the two of them have on each other.
Yeah.
By adding in a lot more scenes where it's not just the two of them making goo-goo eyes at each other in a way that I think can actually like detract a little bit from like, this should have been a solid hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like a 90-minute musical makes sense.
Yeah.
2.5 hour long musicals. That's a bit.
It's also a little weird when you got like the sharks and the jets, and like, you know, they're like out in the middle of these they're like dirty and they're dressed in period appropriate and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they start doing the dance fighting stuff, the real fabulous, like putting their arms out and like back moves, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah. Feels less tough than I remember.
Okay, all right, sure. You guys are super tough guys.
Yeah.
There's a scene in Arrested Development where they hire the hot cops that are these male strippers to go intimidate one of the characters, and then he's like, hey guys, don't rough me up. I know I'm gonna save you from a life on the streets by teaching you how to dance.
Oh, God.
And then they become like this like West Side Story dancing gang, and they go up to a bunch of like actual gangbangers and dance, and then the guy immediately gets stabbed.
Yep, sounds about right.
And that's kind of all I could think about when I was watching West Side Story. But I don't know, it's on HBO Max, and like there's a bunch of other good stuff on there too. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people really seem to like it. I didn't like the original West Side Story. I don't really like the story of Romeo and Juliet. So like, it's a lot of, for me, like.
I don't like the Wizard of Oz, so there you go.
What? I'm just kidding. It's all right. You know what? I think I like The Wiz better than The Wizard of Oz. Or
Return to Oz.
Return to Oz is the best movie.
The Wheelers, that lady's taking her head off.
Yeah,
there's a horror in that movie.
The original TikTok.
Yep. Oh.
Isn't that the name of the clock? Wasn't he TikTok?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah,
maybe.
I was gonna look it up, but I'm not going to.
So yeah, I also watched. I'm gonna put in a real brief thing. If you're not watching Severance is rad.
But it's on Apple, blah blah blah,
End of
Apple
this
TV.
week. Yep. I actually watched 2 episodes of another show that started on Apple TV last week called Slow Horses. That's like, if you're in the British Secret Service and you're a spy and you fuck up, you go to Gary Oldman's home for spies that done fucked up and do bad work. And like, so in the beginning, it's this guy that fucks up and he goes, and it's really slow and really British, but like, it was fine. It's only gonna be like 4 or 5 episodes too. I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff on Apple Plus. I liked Schmigadoon, and For All Mankind I liked all what I watched of that. I watched like a season and a half of that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Ted Lasso. I like a lot of the stuff on Apple TV.
I didn't know
so.
Ted Lasso was Apple Plus.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's a good excuse for me to not watch it.
Yeah.
Have you been watching Moon Knight?
I did. Last week, Michael and I talked about it, but I'd be interested to hear what you think about Moon Knight. Have you watched?
I'm for it.
Have you watched the second episode?
I have watched the second episode.
I haven't watched that one yet, so no spoilies.
Okay.
Spoiler-doos.
Moon Knight's in it.
Oh, God.
I fucking ruined it. I don't know if there can be spoilers for it. I'm not going to get into any of the details of it. I just think my brother is a diehard Moon Knight fan. He's been since we were youngin'.
Uh-huh.
But so I'm faintly aware of Moon Knight. I don't know his I don't know him well enough that I watched, I read his books or anything, but I knew the character because my brother loved him so much.
Yeah.
I think it's fun and great, and it's kind of nice because I don't watch any Marvel or superhero. I don't watch any superhero big shit that everybody watches.
Right.
Not in I hate mainstream stuff, but just I needed a break from it.
Yeah.
And Moon Knight is such a great step back into it for me because I don't feel bombarded with Captain America. Did you guys hear that Iron Man, Spider-Man? And also it's not that. It's just singular character following a singular fucking story. And it's fun, and it's great actors, and it's a fun character.
I said this last week and I'll say it again. I think the two things that work well for it is one, they finally had a break where it's been 3 months since Hawkeye ended and there hasn't been another thing to just give you a fucking time to breathe. And then two, it's the first show that's not connected to something else in the MCU. And
yeah,
it's just
it might be by the end of it, but
possibly. But at least starting, it's here's a brand new thing, not here's a continuation of this character that you saw in the movie or this character from the movie.
I don't know if you heard or if y'all talked about it, but John was telling me that I guess Oscar Isaac was offered the way they do all their Marvel stars, where it's this TV series and a 5-movie deal or whatever. And he was like, no, I'm going to do this season.
Yeah.
If you have an idea for next season, pitch it to me.
Maybe.
Yeah. If you want me in any of the films, we will discuss it.
Yeah.
But it's not a guaranteed thing. So it forces them to, I think, really mean it when they utilize Moon Knight, which I think would be really important.
As opposed to just look.
Yeah.
Look who it is.
You just
it's Daredevil.
Yeah,
you remember Daredevil.
It's just mildly annoying that it just feels like a lot of times it'll just be and here's Moon Knight. Hey, everybody, look directly into the camera, finger guns, and then walk out so that he could get $5 million to do nothing.
Yep.
Not that I think Oscar Isaac would be against getting $5 million for doing nothing. He just seemed like he was I don't want to be tied down to this character just for the money when I can be doing other shit. Yeah. Is kind of the way it was portrayed.
Yeah. It's I'm waiting to watch the second one, but I really enjoyed the first one. I'm actually just we're going to get into it, but I'm also really mad because I have a whole series of things that I would watch on Friday night. And one of them was, I don't mean to completely shift gears here, but one of them was Attack on Titan. And Attack on Titan, I believe 2 years ago, it was Attack on Titan, the final season. And then it went and then it just stopped. And it was and then I was what the fuck? You didn't end. This is the final season. And they were next year, the final season, part two. And I was okay.
Yeah,
I've been watching this shit
accept it.
for a decade. Fine. If you need that time, I get it. I don't want people working themselves to death. And then it just stopped 2 weeks ago. And then I got the headlines online. It's Attack on Titan, the final season will end in 2023, and I'm what are you?
Yeah.
What? No, just wait until they're done.
They're gonna drag it out. This is the same shit that for a while, trilogy movies that were supposed to be trilogies. Yeah. That third movie would be split into 2 parts, so you'd have 2. So then it was a quadrilogy, but not really because it's part 1 and part 2. And that stop it. Yeah. Just end it. Kill them all.
I don't care what you got to do. Just end it already.
You looked it up. No, you have to tell me if I was right.
You were right.
Yeah.
TikTok was the
name. He looks like the Pringles man, but he's a robot.
Yep. Well, speaking of big throwbacks, we had a couple of really big announcements of old games, what are coming back.
Hell yeah.
And we started with
big hype for me.
I wasn't sure whether it was this or the second one that would have been more, but I thought that this would probably be more your speed. Monkey Island,
Hell
baby.
yeah. I'm a huge Ron Gilbert fan.
Yep.
He's tweeted me. I've tweeted him. We're best friends.
That means we obviously know each other.
Yeah. If I get one tweet from you, we're clearly best friends.
Yep. So they announced this on April Fool's, which he, like, a decade ago was like, if there's ever going to be another Monkey Island game, I'm going to announce it on April Fool's.
Yeah.
Which also, by the way, April Fool's was garbage this year. There wasn't any good.
No, there wasn't any
stuff.
solid. The only joke I heard was they're doing another Pride and Prejudice, and Mr. Darcy is going to be played by Chris Pratt. And I watched all the like classic Jane Austen fan women on TikTok just like no, and not realize that it was April Fool's Day, and that was delightful for me.
But yeah, then we got a really brief little teaser. That's like this little skeleton lady playing a violin on the dock with Murray the Talking Skull. We got this guy coming in with some boxes. One is Lucasfilm Games. The second is Devolver Digital, showing that Devolver Digital is the greatest company of all time. And then Ron Gilbert's company was it like
I forgot what it's called, like
Terrible Toy Box.
That's what it is.
And yeah, then Murray says like Ron Gilbert told me that he would. And then like the lady kicks him into the ocean.
Yeah.
And, I like the fact that like I don't know if you remember, but the last one of these was like a decade ago, and it was a Telltale joint, and it was 3D. And it is not held up very well.
Yeah, I like vaguely remember it, but I wasn't.
And then I think that they might
I don't like Telltale games, so.
I think that they also did a really good remake of the first one, and maybe the second. I think they did the second one as well.
Yeah, I think they did both.
But those were like sprites, I believe. They're actually like hand-drawn things.
Yeah.
But this looks really good. Like
it looks really good.
It looks really good. It's got nice animation. It's got like a good, it looks like fucking Monkey Island. Like it looks like the way I think of Monkey Island in my head. So
yeah. When you up-resed it in your own brain.
Yeah. I'm glad they're not doing anything stupid with it. And it's coming out this year.
Yeah.
And it's got the fucking, what's his face? The Guybrush Threepwood voice actor. The guy has done
Dominic
Guybrush.
Armato. I can't say his name.
So, yeah. I mean, like, fuck. Yeah.
Like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm so hyped for it. I'm really excited about it. These are my kind of games. I was talking to John about it, and I was like, I'm starting to wonder if my love of like Double Fine was a Tim Schafer thing, or if in actuality I just loved the things Tim Schafer did with Ron Gilbert and Lucas in the LucasArts games.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, it wasn't a full cartoon. It was this weird kind of like partially 3D.
Yeah.
Look.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
This now.
Yeah. I blocked it from memory.
Yeah. I mean, it still works.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't do anything, whatever, but I just...
But the new one looks so much more, like, vibrant than this does.
Yeah, the new one just...
It's kind of like watching the remake of West Side Story. No, it's
You're just going to shit on West Side Story the whole time. Everyone's going to be all mad at us.
I'm giving it... I don't... Well, first off, I don't think anybody listening to Rage gives a shit about West Side Story at all.
Yeah,
but
sure.
You're like,
do you give a shit about musicals? Come to Rage Select.
I actually do give a shit about musicals, but, Labyrinth, Little Shop of Horrors, like...
Oh, like good
like
musicals?
The good ones.
Like fun ones?
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, yeah. Monkey Island.
Hell yeah.
2022, man. That's
I'm so excited.
Good stuff. So yeah. The other big remake that we didn't get a trailer for but was announced is Max Payne 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Max Payne 1 and 2 are getting remade in the Control engine.
Sorry, the picture that the article used is hilarious.
Oh, it's that
stupid
Sam Lake's Max Payne face.
Yeah, it's just that stupid face.
So the big thing with, for anybody who doesn't know, the big thing with Max Payne, the Max Payne franchise, is that it was developed by Remedy, but it's owned by Rockstar,
right?
Which is why Rockstar made Max Payne 3 and Remedy had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But Rockstar has made a deal with Remedy to remake the first and the second one. There's not really a shitload of information outside of like... It's going to be made in the Northlight engine, which is the engine that was Control was made.
Yeah.
and that they're just starting development now. So definitely like it's going to be some
It's going to be a little bit of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always excited for anything Remedy does. And John is a big Max Payne fan. I am not. So I'm not like, ooh, but like also I was real excited to hear it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I'm kind of on the fence a little bit because I think that like Max Payne 2 probably could have just been like, I think a lot of it depends on whether they're going to go back and if they're going to keep the same comic art for the cutscenes, because that art is art, right? There wouldn't be any reason to redo that. You just need a higher resolution version of it.
Yeah.
And if you're just going to use that for the cutscenes, then what you're left with in the actual gameplay part is a minor cleanup. Like Max Payne 1 could definitely use some work, but like Max Payne 2 doesn't need that much work. It still looks really good.
Is it available on new consoles though?
No.
So is really this just to get it in new consoles?
It's a good question. I don't know.
So they're like, well, 1 clearly needs to be worked on to get it in new consoles, but 2 doesn't need that much work, but we want it in new consoles, so we're just gonna do it together anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that
we're like 2 for 1 special here.
So what I'm curious about is if they're putting because they're putting them both out at the same time.
Yeah.
Like if they're going to feel the need to like completely remake Max Payne 1 to make it match the same style so that it's not as jarring when you flip between the two of them.
Yeah.
And if they remade Max Payne 1 and then smoothed over all the rough edges in Max Payne 1, then I feel like that they would have to go back and do... Max Payne 2 is very playable. I don't know how well it plays on consoles. Like... You could probably get away with putting Max Payne 2 on modern consoles, just running the whole thing through an up-res filter and maybe smoothing out a few things.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder...
This is 2 what we're looking at?
This is 2, yeah.
I could see, like, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be like a drastic change. Like, it's
the
not
faces are a little stiff.
Yeah, but like, it wouldn't hurt to have it look nicer.
Yeah. And I mean, you could do some stuff.
Yeah, their movement is kind of gross to me.
You could do some stuff with the movement. You could do some stuff with like the way that the like control felt really good to play, and it'd be a question of like whether this was going to feel as good because it was kind of made to be played with a mouse and a keyboard as opposed to like a controller.
Plus, I feel like if you're gonna let them touch any of this stuff, you're gonna get little hidden shit because Remedy loves. Adding in their own little...
Well, the weird thing, right, is wasn't there was a character in Alan Wake that was Max Payne that was part of Alan Wake's book, right?
Alan Wake's books are Max Payne. It's just they couldn't call it Max Payne, so it's like something else or something. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. This isn't like, it doesn't look like a brand new game or anything, but I've seen plenty of ports. I mean, we just got done playing that Chrono Cross port.
Yeah.
That didn't look anywhere near as good as just this is.
No, you're right. Like if they were like, here, we're putting this out and it looks exactly like this, I don't think anybody would be super upset. But if you're going to do 1 and fix 1 to look like fit into Control, then you have to do 2, otherwise it's going to look weird.
Yes. No, I agree.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a strange thing. And it's weird because I think one of the reasons it's weird is because Remedy is a really strange company because they're independent, but they take on a lot of projects that are strange. Like they did that Crossfire X campaign, which by all accounts was kind of bad.
Yeah.
Like John and I were playing it and we were just like, oh, this seems really generic. But then they're like, the scores for it were just like, boo, boo. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
But they're also making like a game for Tencent and they've done work for hire. Like they seem like they really are not above. They're a lot like David Lynch, where they do something that they don't want to do.
Yeah, they're more than happy to do the quick and dirty so that they can do their shit later.
And I wonder if this was something, because, Rockstar just put out that Grand Theft Auto trilogy, remake, remaster, whatever. And I wonder if the response to that was so bad that they looked around at the other properties they had and they were like, oh, everybody likes Max Payne. Remedy is always there, always wants some money. So it'd be like, hey, why don't you guys do this right?
Yeah, because they'll actually care because it's their baby.
Yeah, and they're like already staffed. So you don't have to worry about like giving it to a third party company and they're understaffed or they're under pressure. Like Remedy isn't, they're veterans to the point where you can just be like, how long do you need? How much will it take? That's what we'll allocate. I don't know, plus 10%. There's a bonus if it sells really well.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, as opposed to dicking around and ending up with something that makes you look really bad, like the Grand Theft Auto stuff.
Yeah.
Did. So,
which is kind of funny because I also think that Remedy would also do a even better job than they normally would have to show up Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, it's possible.
Just a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody, like, not in a, like, shitty kind of way, but in a, like, a little bit of a competition kind of way.
Yeah.
Like, we just, not only will we do it, but we're going to do it so much better to make you guys, like, just a little bit. Just make you look a little bad, you know? Yeah.
No, I get it. So, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like, again, the whole thing is that, like, I'm not opposed to this happening. Like, it means money in Remedy's pocket, and it means accessibility for a game that I don't want to see just like disappear into the ether and be inaccessible. You know. So,
and also, I'm always happy when people give Remedy money.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit if they come out with bad things at this point. Same with Devolver Digital. I'm always just like, just give them money. I don't care. Give them all the money.
Yeah. So it'll be good to see. Also, what they're making they've got like a multiplayer shooter that they're making. I think it's like in the Control universe that I've seen mentioned a few times, like a competitive multiplayer shooter. Like they want to get in on.
Aren't they working on Alan Wake
2? Yes. They also have another. They have a sequel.
I paused because I was like, is the American Nightmare or whatever it's called 2, or is that's just its own?
I think it's a spinoff.
Okay.
But yeah, they're working on Alan Wake 2. They're working on that and a sequel to Control. So 2 Control projects. They're working on this game for 10 cents, and then apparently they're going to be working on this too. And it's just like, God damn, guys.
I want to work at Remedy, but I just want to be like their janitor. Like, I just want to hang out with them a little bit.
What's his face from Control?
Yeah.
It was that guy?
Oh, fuck.
Fjorben or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, man. He's my favorite character, too.
All I could think of is Jarl. What was that? Well, okay.
He has a whole fucking
video game.
Ati.
There you go.
HTI. Ati. I remember him. Yeah.
Yeah. So next up, because we're just going crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of making things look really good.
Yes.
Unreal came out, or Epic came out, and they basically released Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
Like, it's a full-on release. The big thing with, I don't know if you know this, Amanda, but the big thing with Unreal Engine is that, like, big companies will license it, but you can also just, like, install, like, if you could go home and install Unreal Engine on your computer.
Well, haven't we played shitty one-person made games that used Unreal Engine?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Oft?
Yes, but the big thing is that they've been so like a year or two ago, like a year ago, I think they had a presentation where they showed off the Unreal Engine with this little like pre-made demo. They gave it to select groups of people who made some kind of tech stuff with it, and then what I didn't realize was that they converted Fortnite to run on Unreal Engine 5, and then just updated Fortnite to run on Unreal Engine 5, and let it run for like 8 months and just looked at like how did it perform and like how easy was it, were there any big bugs, which is a great stress test because
that is actually really smart
because there's so much that can be done with it, and now it's fully out. And so there's a lot going on here, but there are 2 big things that I think are, well, okay, 3, 4. There's a bunch of stuff.
Several things.
Lots of things. Okay, one of the big things that they're doing is you can now use like super textures, like these like really, really, really high resolution textures. And the thing is that the Unreal Engine 5 will now calculate, and it's like, oh, do you need to see the detail on this? No, then I'm gonna like not load as much of that texture and only show you like, because it's like on the side of your camera blurred out when you don't need to be seeing it, but then if you like walk up and zoom in on it, it'll like keep loading it, so they can make a thing where the textures are very big but they're streamed as necessary and loaded as necessary. The second thing is the lighting engine, which is now just like completely ray traced, all dynamic, and all run directly by the engine. So like they have a demo later on that there's like a 30-minute thing that they put out, and I actually really like it because it's a bunch of people from Epic talking about it, about Unreal Engine 5, and they are nerds.
Yeah, they are.
Like they are super nerds, but they have a guy that does this kind of like tech demo where he's showing like like one of the things he shows, because one of the things that they put out is this thing. Okay, God damn it, I'm getting so ahead of myself. This is really exciting for me.
Yeah. I can tell.
Called Lyra, and Lyra is this like multiplayer. It's like a bunch of mannequins with guns, and there's 3 different arenas and like several different game modes, and they're like, we're giving this to you, and then you just like swap those mannequins in with whatever characters you want, put different things in the environment, edit the environment, and you just have this. Like, this is a template. Make your own multiplayer game, put it out tomorrow. We don't fucking care. We want you to use it.
The whole point. Let's do it.
One of the things that they show in here is how like you can just like take so you can just take like they're showing in this area that the area is lit by the sun, and then they'll show actually how moving the sun around directly
changes like the shadows,
the way the shadows go. Well, what might not be clear in this is that you can see that like the floor is white. And that there's a lot of like bounce happening. So when they make the floor red, they show how like the light that hits the floor is now casting red onto things around it.
Wow.
In real time, like just at the click of a do a thing. Like one of the things that they show
it was literally a drag and drop of color.
Yeah, is using like this green texture, and you can really see this green
bouncing off the white walls.
Yeah. And that there's like, you can see in the glass here the reflection of like this portal, and there you can see a lot of the environment that is being dynamically created by the engine, as opposed to something that you have to hire an artist to do, that it's just built into the engine. Like one of the other things they show is adding like a light source, and then just like moving the sun and moving it around. You can see how it like interacts with all the different light sources and textures and stuff that are in there. That's huge, because it means that like one person can just download this and do it.
Yeah.
And not just that, but like the big thing with Unreal is that it also has this marketplace where people can just put assets that you could just buy and then put into a game. And then not only can you just drop it into the game, but then it also interacts with all the lighting and everything.
We are going to have the most beautiful, shittily made, big titty bullshit games.
Oh my God, it's going to be great.
Really excited about it.
Yeah, I watched this and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Oh, that's really cool. And then I got to the end, I was like, oh, the porn.
Yeah.
The porn is going to be crazy.
Yes, it is.
Because like one of the things that they have is they have this like, well, first off, they have this is a group of people that they talk about in here that is nothing but this weird foreign group that has been doing nothing but going out and like 3D scanning objects in the real world and then putting them into Unreal. Like, so we went out, we found a nice fire hydrant, and then we like went out with like super high resolution cameras and did like 18 passes around it and got all the detail of the shit. And now you can just take that thing and just plonk it in your game. Or like, you know,
we making the Matrix?
Kinda. Like forests, like things, and these things.
Like lamps and things.
Like when they do some of these renders, it's like, man, that. Like, I saw a comment on one of these news stories for this tech where it was like, how much better could things really look? And I'm looking at some of the stuff and I'm just like, apparently a lot better.
It's the detail of, like, for example, they show the fire hydrant, and it's the detail of it clearly being painted, the paint chipped in some spots, and then it got repainted.
Yep.
So you can see where the paint was chipped and where there's new paint on top of it.
Yep.
And it's subtle, and it...
Like, look at some of these. These are generated.
It's crazy.
Like,
that's detail that people don't put in for things like that.
Yeah. And then the way that like the light interacts with it. So this is a representation of all the triangles that make up this scene. This is one of the earlier scenes, but
that's crazy to look at. They moved like a landscape, and it was just like in a desert, and they just like, let's move this mountain, and it looked fucking seamless when they moved it.
It looked like a fucking picture.
Yeah, it looked like God was like, no, that's not where I want this mountain.
But the thing that's even crazier is that this guy talks about doing all this stuff, and then he talks about going out and doing these filming with like these like super high resolution cameras, and how it's like really intense work to do. But then at the end of this, they shows an example of the next thing that they want to do is they have this new technique where they have an app that you can put on your phone that has a fucking 18 megapixel camera, and then it'll guide you through taking like 100 pictures. And the example they show is this lady that has this kind of distressed chair, and she's just taking picture after picture after picture of the chair. there, and it's like showing this AR representation where it's taking all these pictures, it's putting them together, and then you can fucking put that on the Unreal Marketplace, and then somebody can grab that chair and put it in their fucking wizard lab, and boom.
Can you imagine? Like, so you're like, I need, because this is sold for real money, right? Like your assets that you put up on an Unreal.
Yes.
So you could be somebody that loves to fucking thrift, and you find the weirdest items, and then you just take 1.5 million fucking pictures and post it up.
Yeah.
And that's that. That's crazy.
And not just that, but
it might be my new job.
And not just that, but the other thing is that Epic, because of the amount of money that Fortnite made, they adjusted their profit take, where like they're the only company, they pay out the highest to people that sell stuff on their marketplace. They take the lowest possible. Like, we have a story later on about Roblox. So like if a kid makes a game in Roblox and they sell that game and then somebody else buys that game from them, Roblox takes 75% and they get 25%.
Yeah.
On Epic takes 13% and you get 87% of whatever the person sold it for. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm just like, I should take a picture by $400 concertina. Like, how many people need a concertina? Like, and the idea, and then they also have this other tech where they have these people that look like fucking people.
Yeah.
Like, it's
so weird. I mean, it's cool, but yeah, that shit's...
It's like a character creator, but then when you get done, it's like you're looking at a fucking person.
Yeah.
Like, I never put it on Rage Select, but they had this huge demo for The Matrix that was on the Xbox Series X, where it was like, it's really hard sometimes to tell whether that's actually Keanu that I'm looking at. Like... and not only that...
Well, in fairness, I'm not 100% sure that he's not just a render of something.
That there's actually a Keanu.
He hasn't been around it in years. He's actually retired 70 years ago, and we just keep reusing him.
Yeah. They also talked about how, like, you can plot a scene and you just, like, put in... like virtual cameras and then just cut between them, like, and then let the whole thing render. When they were showing that demo early on of that multiplayer game, like, the first thing that they showed that was kind of amazing was that they were in the editor and then they just hit the play button and then just fucking like go. Boom. Like, I'm because it's running on the same engine, I can try it out right now. So there's a lot going on here, and I know that like some of this stuff gets into the weird techie weeds, but like if you're into video games, like this level of technology means that the bottom, the shittier games, the fucking cyber cafe simulator could suddenly look like that fucking Matrix demo because they made the whole city that they made for, like, they made, this is the city, this is an Unreal Engine 5 thing for the Matrix, and then they made this city available for people to download and freely use as they want. And
that's
not only
fucking crazy
can you use it, but it's also like
sorry,
like they show
Matrix scene is so funny.
They show like just go in and like make a building 4 stories higher or shorter, or like swap this one for one with a rotunda.
Is that what the editing tool looks like? Like what they're showing underneath?
Yes.
Because that just looks like Sony Vegas. That looks like what I used to edit like podcasts on.
I think this is like a subsection of like rendering.
Well, obviously it's for their like cinematic stuff and not gameplay stuff, but like. Yeah, I just mean it looks easy to use. Like, relatively speaking, it looks like you can get.
Like, I think this is for like a cutscene editor, right?
Right.
Rendering, and then you can see it here.
Because you can use Unreal with this level of detail, you can make fucking movies on this.
Oh yeah, no, they talk about that. They talk about like making music videos and advertising stuff. But like here in this one, you can see these like orange things, and those are the cameras. So it's showing all the different cameras,
the different angles you can cut between,
and then you can go back and just
fucking invisible
like, boom,
because
boom,
they don't
boom.
exist because it's all in virtual goddamn space.
Yeah, this shit is raw.
The sickest thing right now is just that I really, really, really am enticed by this and kind of want to do it.
Yeah,
want to get it and fuck around with it. But the only game I have is a game that I've been thinking about and developing within my mind, or like a plotting donut simulator, which I think would be the funniest thing to do on something so powerful, and be like, all right, everybody, donuts.
I know how to make them, and now you're gonna know how to make them.
It's just
I the idea that this is going to be raising the minimum bar for what everything looks like to potentially this is just incredible.
Yeah,
like,
it's exciting. Also, I know Unreal gets used a lot for indie horror games, and that's fucking exciting for me. I may not play a lot of horror games, but I love watching people play horror games, and the ones that are made in Unreal tend to have the best ideas, but not the best look.
Yes.
And to add the look to it, that's
They said in this presentation that right now, because they've already been signing people up to be using Unreal Engine 5, 48% of the games currently in development are going to be using this engine.
That's crazy.
Like, almost half of every game made is going to be made in Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
And from the look of it, like, I can't blame them. I mean, one of the things they were just talking about, right, is because they've worked so hard on this engine, it's like, oh, well, I can take a building out and put a different building in, and I don't have to worry about breaking everything.
Yeah,
because
like
I've got
everything
this,
just like explode off of the page.
yeah. Or like the idea that EA uses a Frostbite engine, which looks really good, but like one of the reasons that Mass Effect was so rough with it was because Frostbite was made for like Battlefield.
Yeah.
And it wasn't made for a big open world RPG. And the things they had to do to it to make it work in that way was like, yeah. So the idea that you can just fucking open up the box and here you go. And it's just fucking incredible. Again, I really recommend. I'm so glad I have a 4K monitor to be looking at this in 4K.
It's fucking beautiful, yeah.
Because just like between the characters and the particles and the environments, like it all just is a kind of a big leap up to basically the thing that happens whenever we have a generational leap, which is everything in the future is going to be closer to what the best looking games right now look like.
Yeah.
That the best looking games that we see right now are going to be the minimum or close to the minimum moving forward.
It's so weird that we're getting stuff like this, and then also people like throwback games. So like,
oh yeah,
so we have so many trailers that it's like, do you remember what games looked like in the 80s?
Yep.
It's like, why?
Yep. So yeah, Unreal Engine 5. I recommend everybody go watch this presentation because
really
it's
cool.
just full of crazy stuff. We found out a couple of other things. One of the things that we found, we saw there's a company called the Coalition that is the company that currently makes Gears, that made a little like kind of short film with a guy where they were just kind of playing around with this guy who's kind of wearing Gearsy armor, and he's got a little shard, and there's like smoke attacking him.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed because of the smoke.
Yeah.
Well, I was just, look, there's a lot of good, right? Because I just watched this part.
Yeah.
Because it was like a separate test.
Yeah.
Or a separate video that I saw. So you get like the details in the face look amazing. The details in the costume and the gear that he's wearing look good. The lighting from the crystal shard is awesome. The thing they have is smoke. Like, smoke is I know it's kind of hard, but like typically smoke is just like it's like smoke or water. They always want to show you smoke or water.
Yep.
I just don't show
or
me
fire.
Show me anything other than smoke, water, or fire.
Or like an orb full of magical energy with little particles coming off of it.
Yeah, it's just like it's always the same things. Like I'm more impressed by the city thing. I'm more impressed by the landscape that they showed where they just moved a fucking an entire mountain and it looks seamless. Like I'm so much more impressed by that than I am by generic smoke coming through.
Yep. The other thing with the Matrix demo that I always thought was really interesting was that because they contracted a company to make the city for them that based it on like actual AI data that they pulled in of cities.
Yeah.
Is that it's because it's based on a real city, it's like more claustrophobic like an actual city is, as opposed to like we widened everything to make sure that you can see stuff, but it actually makes it feel more real. It looks more realistic.
Yeah, it doesn't pull you out and you be like, oh, it's
Grand Theft Auto.
a city. They made city.
Right.
Instead, it's like, okay, you're in the city. You've moved past that, but then when you focus on the city, it's more impressive.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, like they should. Yeah, does. Anyway, there's a lot going on in here.
It's 30 minutes.
It's a lot going on in here.
That's Keanu.
That
just
was
happened upon Keanu halfway through that.
I think that was actually Cyber Keanu, to be honest. But
I'm not sure there's not a Cyber Keanu.
Okay, all right. We can't talk about Unreal Engine anymore. We got to move on. Oh yeah, the last thing was they announced that there's going to be a new Tomb Raider. Crystal Dynamics is making a Tomb Raider, and it is going to be on Unreal Engine 5, and it is just starting development, so don't expect it anytime.
Then don't announce it
soon. Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows?
Don't fucking announce it.
The other
now
thing,
people are going to be like, whatever happened? They said they were working on a Tomb Raider game.
The other thing is, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, if you have this amount of pre-made assets and or partners that you can get with, and if all of these things are way easier to use, it's like maybe you crank out a game that looks like that Matrix thing in a year, like as opposed to 5 years.
Yeah.
Apparently this is supposed to take place between the kind of the prequel trilogy, the reboot trilogy, and then like the later stuff. So I only ever played through the first of the Rise of Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And there were 2 other whole video games that I never got around to. But
yeah, I don't even remember the other 2. I just remember the first one.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I don't know.
It's just exciting.
I don't have any problem with Tomb Raider. Just Jeff Goldblum playing with cats.
Yeah,
so.
That's a weird ad to just show up.
From there, speaking of the future, we got some Starfield.
Starfield's
news.
really bad at advertising, I think.
I did the math on my fingers. Amanda, it's like 7 months until Starfield comes out. It's time to start showing me Starfield.
Oh, you don't want to see the same robot they keep showing us over and over again? Because the last thing we saw before this
was this. It was just this same robot, but he was in the ship, and now it's like, here's that same robot.
Out of the ship
on a blank background. Here's some sketches.
Here he is on a green screen.
You know what? They were like, oh, you know, Vasco has like some combat functions,
defensive
functions that
you probably won't need.
And I'm like, show me them.
Yeah.
Like, don't just point to the part on the model. Like, show the gun shooting on the robot.
Yeah. I'm not sure there's a video game. I think it might just be a robot walking simulator.
Also, you know,
here he goes. There he is.
There's this whole this is a VG247 article where it's just like, you know, it's this whole thing where they're talking about Vasco, and they're just like, oh yeah, everybody on the development team, they love Vasco. When they saw Vasco, they're like, oh, I want to do a quest that intersects with Vasco. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know who the main character of this game is or what the fuck is going on. So, like, maybe tell me more about that quest you and Vasco are going to do instead of telling me how cool Vasco is.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I feel like they're trying to sell Vasco to me.
Yep.
And forgot to sell the game to me.
I mean, like, I get it. We're like a month or 2 away from E3's not happening this year, but like, you know, announcement sometime in the summer. A lot of companies will do announcements that then fill in the catalog for the rest of the year. Even if there's not E3, there's a Summer Game Fest with Jeff Keighley and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, guys,
something. Give me something.
Something.
If I don't, I swear to God, if I get another Vasco thing, I'm going to buy every Starfield I see and I'm going to burn it in front of the building that they made it in. Well,
you don't need to because you got it on Game Pass, so you can just burn it in Game Pass.
I'm going to burn John's console.
That sounds like a problem between you and John.
John's like, why? And I'm like, Vasco, I don't know.
Stay the fuck away from my Xbox, Amanda. Yeah. Let's see. In other news of companies that are owned by Microsoft, we had some more Blizzard news.
Oh, God.
Last week, Blizzard kind of just came out of the blue and was like, state guidance says you don't have to be vaccinated. Cases are down. Everybody come back to work. We're not going to enforce any measures for COVID. The end. After that, they had a big virtual walkout, which is the thing that now happens at Blizzard whenever people are mad about a thing.
Yeah.
But 115 people and a virtual walkout. I know that there's some people will be like, what the fuck is a virtual walkout? It's like when you stop working intentionally, you're just
log
like,
off, I'm
not here, so fuck you. They instituted a while back that they used to keep paying people even when they walked out.
Yeah, they openly said they weren't doing that anymore.
Yep. The walkouters have what was it? They had a couple of different demands. They wanted kind of a pathway to full work from home if you want to.
Yeah.
And there was one other thing I forgot.
I mean,
what
it's
it was.
fair. It seems like maybe it's not necessary as long as they have the ability to do their job from home.
Yeah. Well, so I have really mixed feelings about this because on the one hand, like I can tell that companies are just like fucking, they want to be able to look over people's shoulders. Like they get sexual satisfaction from being able to sit in their office and look out the peons and be like, ha ha ha.
Yeah. But also a lot of businesses benefit from real estate and owning buildings.
Very
and
true.
if they don't need the building anymore, it changes the dynamic of what their company is actually fundamentally based on.
Yep.
And it's not actually about anything except that we want big building that we pay money for, and they just don't need that building anymore.
There's also the question of there's a lot of unionization efforts that are happening at Activision Blizzard. And if you have people physically in an office, then you can see who they're talking to and keep an eye on them.
In theory. Like in general, now I think it's getting harder and harder for businesses to keep people from talking to each other.
Well, that's true.
We are in a communication age, baby. You know what I can do outside of work? Text my coworkers.
Don't move that around so much.
I just like touching it. I'm sorry.
I think people can hear when the mic gets moved like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, on the other hand, like, oh man, I don't know. I have really mixed feelings about this, and I think that part of it is that ingrained when you get old enough, and you're just like, well, when I was young, I had to go to the office every day, and like, why do you get to stay home? And I'm like, I think that everybody should get to stay home, but on the other hand, like, corporate is bastards. All corporate is bastards. And so, like, of course they're going to be like, come to work, and you're going to be like, hell no. And then they're just going to be like, well, then eventually they're going to be like, well, then you're fired.
Yeah, we'll just hire people that do your job for cheaper because we're getting them straight out of college and they don't know any better. And everything's going to suck, but then they're not going to know any better. So it doesn't matter for us because.
So I don't know how, I mean, like, I think that if I was Activision Blizzard, I would go back to the office and then like, use that opportunity to talk to Jim in the break room about like, hey man, we voted on the union last week. Are you sure you don't want to come over and like, maybe we can set up a thing where everybody can work from home. I also read an article last week on my phone that was like talking about this, you have to come into the office like 2 days a week type of thing. And how a lot of times when that happens, it's like one person from each department, and so it's just
pointless.
There's nobody even there. It's like they go to work and then they IM everybody because everybody's either at home or they're in another department on the other side of the building. And so it's just like one person sitting in a cube farm like, what the fuck? Why did I come here?
I think in general, like the way this is being handled, and this is just like the future of all businesses, it's gonna need to be reevaluated in what they're doing. So if they are doing something where it's like, come back to the office, but like 2 days a week, your team will come back together for those 2 days, as opposed to it seems very like it's optional, and as long as 2 days a week you come in or whatever, then you end up with like the one person that's in the office for absolutely no reason or whatever. But in general, I'm starting to think that any corporate job that is like you need to be in the office is just a great way to start implementing bullshit fucking meetings of like, it's our Thursday morning meeting, hey, on Monday we're gonna have a special meeting real quick so that you can, it's like, let me do my job. Like I can do this from home and not have to have these fucking meetings.
We have study after study that shows the meetings are like the biggest time waster. It's not fucking people looking at Facebook. It's not any of that. It's pointless fucking meetings. Like it's that weekly meeting that you've all gone to where you don't have anything to say and the information does not apply to you, but you're required to go sit in the conference room for an hour and fucking staple your eyelids to the top of your forehead to keep from falling asleep as your manager goes on and on and on about
you got to give your manager something to do because they're not fucking working.
So anyway, I should have I should have launched into this direction. Activision Blizzard has rolled back that universal policy to a policy of each individual studio can decide for themselves what they want their policy to be. I also have a real this is a little bit of a tangent, but like part of my I physically go into the convenience store, the grocery store, and Thundercloud Subs in Austin, Texas. These are the places that I get out of my car and go into. And at the the convenience store is the wild fucking west. Who knows what the fuck is going on there?
Yeah.
But nobody's wearing their fucking mask at the grocery store anymore. And Thundercloud Subs has taken down all the plastics, and the guys aren't wearing their masks either. And I'm kind of like, I mean, I get it. Like, the cases are real low, right? Like, we're at the bottom of the dip and everything. But part of me is just kind of coming to this realization. It's just like, well, if everybody else is not going to do it, like, I've been studiously doing it, and not like, you know, like I saw one person not wearing a mask and I'm just like, oh, I guess we're done here.
Yeah.
But like, I look and it's like 85% of the people around me are not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And the mask is to protect you from me. So if 85% of you motherfuckers aren't wearing a mask, then I'm exposed. And it's kind of like, well, what is the point at this point? If we're just not, if we've reached the tipping point of like enough people just don't give a shit. And then, like, this is Austin, right? Like, this ain't, you know, this isn't Florida, right? Like, this is fucking hippy dippy Austin, Texas. So if the sandwich shop that all the college students work at is taking down their plastics, then, like, I don't know, man. It might be time.
John and I still wear our masks when we go out.
Yeah.
And every time we go out, I get dirty looks. I get dirty looks from somebody.
For wearing the mask.
Single time. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've gone to like Target and been the only people in a Target wearing masks, and people in the aisle over, I know they saw us and then walked to the next aisle and loudly were just, people are still wearing masks. What is it for? Like, if you have COVID, stay home. If you don't have COVID, what are you wearing a mask for? And so I just loudly went, people are still being real douchey about wearing masks. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, what
the fuck is your, I mean, I don't know, it's,
but who cares?
Yeah,
like, I'm wearing a mask. If I was wearing a jacket, but you didn't feel particularly cold outside, do you like,
I don't know what your problem is.
Why are you wearing a fucking jacket? I don't want to breathe your air, Becky. Get the fuck away from me.
I mean, it's I don't know what the hell.
Also, I can like cuss people out and they don't know because I have a mask on.
Yeah, stick your tongue out at people.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I mean,
definitely that.
I don't know that person, but I mean, to me, it seems like it's like, you know, they see you being responsible and they're not being responsible, and they're just like, don't shame me.
Yeah.
Don't point out that I'm being irresponsible.
Yeah.
Like,
and meanwhile, like John and I were just like, oh, look, action figures. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't even that. Like, we weren't just looking around at everybody like, look at everybody breathing air around us. Like, I just didn't give a shit. I just wear masks. That's what I do now.
Yep. I don't know. Let's see. We're getting close, but we got a lot.
There's a lot to go through.
We're gonna keep moving fast. Speaking of Overwatch, we
speaking of Overwatch?
Speaking of Activision Blizzard,
there we go.
We got some Overwatch 2 news in the. This is not like a full thing. This is somebody's ArtStation portfolio that did some work for Overwatch 2.
Ooh.
And some of it is like, there's a whole thing that you can go look at of all their different things. And some of it's interesting. It's kind of using some placeholder stuff to show like the way they want the menus to work. Part of it was like, they were like, oh, we want to streamline the menus. And I'm like, I remember Overwatch 1 being really fucking streamlined. Like, I don't
it was
remember
pretty easy to use.
a lot of friction. But the biggest thing here that I think is kind of interesting is one of the menu items is Battle Pass.
Oh.
So the idea that there is a Battle Pass in Overwatch 2 is interesting, because if they're going to charge full price for it and then continue to have seasons and stuff going on, I don't know. I feel like Battle Pass is probably the least egregious thing when it comes to double charging your customers.
Yeah.
Because you give them a whole list of what they're getting. So it's not a loot box, and it's not a season pass with like a mystery DLC that's coming in the third quarter. It's not a microtransaction for a specific gun. It's like, here, you're going to get all these skins and all these things, and this is what you're going to get. Do you want this for $10? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Which I think would, I mean, if I was still into Overwatch, I'm not really into Overwatch anymore.
Yeah.
I think that would probably, like, if there had been the ability, like in Overwatch 1, to be like, it's Halloween, do you want to spend $10 for a battle pass? And if you get to level 50, you're going to get all of this year's costumes.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, okay, well, I know what I can get, and I'm working towards it, as opposed to the, okay, I got a new loot box. Let's see. Oh, it's just sprays.
Yeah.
It's all sprays.
God, you're going to give me PTSD. I remember all that. So, yeah, I'd agree with that, because I would be like, okay, I have this much time to hit like this level or whatever to get all of this, especially if it's all of, or like you get most of, whatever.
Yeah.
I would 100% be into that.
I actually realized when I was reading through this that I think that Overwatch was really bearable in the early days because there were so few skins that, like, if you had gotten a lot of skins just by playing the game at launch, right, then you had a much better chance of when Halloween came around getting the fucking, or the, you know, the beach Widowmaker, because you already had a lot of the other stuff. But then, like, the longer you stopped playing the game, the more skin packs came out. So now your chance is 1 in a gajillion as opposed to 1 in like 100.
Far removed from it. That it's just,
so
I mean, you could also buy it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You could buy.
Yeah, but I don't even mean. But I don't even mean with money. I mean, like, they had that in-game currency, the coins.
Oh yeah.
So technically, you could buy it. It's just they kept getting more and more expensive as time went on. Where it was like 8,000 coins. And
plus, it was like I don't know,
10,000 coins.
I've been playing every week. I've been doing the daily challenges. I just like log on once a day and do it, and then it's like, well, okay, here comes Halloween. I think I have enough for 1 skin,
and that's
there's
what it
2
would be.
that I want.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of wish that they just would let you earn points and then buy what you wanted.
Yeah, I agree.
Strangely, we have 2 Overwatch stories this week, and the second one is a real doozer. Speaking of skins, Zarya in Overwatch had the letter Z removed from 2 of her outfits.
Why?
Okay, that was my question, and that led to a rabbit hole. So allow me to tell you some bullshit.
Okay.
So
that's what we've been doing for an hour.
Yes, about an hour. This is a whole thing where in Russia, a white Z is now like a nationalist symbol. People are not entirely sure about the origins, but they think that it might have come from Z being written on Russian armor to differentiate it from Ukrainian armor, and also that the original, it might have been like a Z and an N and an O and a P, depending on like which theater they were supposed to be in. So Z was like the Russian word for north. So it would have been like, okay, that's one of ours because I can see that it has a big white Z on the back of it. But then it's then been co-opted by the Putin administration as like a symbol of national solidarity.
Okay.
A lot of times it's written with 3 lines, just making the Z with 3 white lines. And I read a whole article that referred to it as the swastika.
Oh my God. Yeah.
There are a lot of like ultra nationalist like people. There was like a video online of a bunch of people that had these shirts that had Z's on them. They were all just like, yeah, fucking go crush those Ukrainian motherfuckers. There was one thing where they made a bunch of kids in like a hospice go outside in the snow and line up in a big Z and take like a drone shot of it. Some real fucked up. I mean, fucked up shit, right? Now, the thing is that I looked into it and it was like, okay, obviously the Z was for Zarya.
Yeah.
But she is a Russian character who is now wearing something with a white Z on it.
Yeah. Oh, it's understandable why they would like remove that for sure.
So yeah, we got to take it off. But it was a really weird thing where you're just like, the what? The letter?
Yeah.
What the? Why is this a thing? And it was like unclear. Like, but it is now. So
yeah.
It's like, God damn it, you guys. I really wish that people could not ruin like regular stuff. Like, I don't think, Amanda, I don't think that it's a problem. But as somebody who was born in 1978 and grew up in the 80s, I still, from time to time, when somebody says something and I want to indicate the affirmative, will flash them the old OK symbol.
Right?
And I'm like, oh, God, I hope they don't think that I was trying to, like, white nationalize them or whatever.
It's weird.
Like, come on, man. If you wanted to pick something, could you not have made, like, a fucking upside-down pentagon with, like, a dick in the middle of it, like instead of just a white Z is a thing.
Yeah.
Like that's for Zorro. Z is for Zorro, motherfucker.
Like Zorro did it before you, and Zorro will continue to do it after you.
You can't culturally appropriate Zorro.
Yes.
Anywho, this is almost sure to. There's a whole point when I upload the podcast where then it takes like 45 minutes to be like checking for potential problems, and I'm like,
this is the one.
I think there might be some potential problems because YouTube always asks me to self-rate my podcast, and I was just like, I don't know, light swearing, because the rest of it is like, are there depictions of violence? And I'm like, yeah, in every video. But when I do that, it's like, so there's like beheadings in this video. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's do 2 more of these and then we're out. We're not out. We're going to take a break. Wargaming. This is a really strange story. So, Wargaming is a company that makes this World of Tanks.
Yes.
They also make World of Ships and World of Warplanes, and they are based in Cyprus, and they have offices in Belarus and Russia. They have a studio that's in St. Petersburg, Russia. And this is a very, very weird story because Wargaming has decided that they want to essentially divest themselves of the Russian side of their video game. So, like, henceforth, the servers, updates, and profits and development for World of War tanks or World of Tanks in Russia will be basically cordoned off to this St. Petersburg office, which is not Wargaming, which is like a subsidiary office. So they're just like slicing the entire Russian section of their video game off and like giving it to this other company to be like, I don't give a fuck what you do with it, but this is your fucking business now.
Get my fingerprints off that train wreck, baby.
Yeah. Which is weird. I've never seen anybody do that before because I would normally think that like the normal move would be, we're shutting it down.
Yeah.
We're shutting down the Russian servers. We're no longer accepting IP addresses from Russia, as opposed to this weird thing of like, we're going to give you this section of the business. I mean, maybe it's really popular in Russia, and maybe they're going to still pay them some kind of royalty for the name or something like that. And they're just like, well, we can make 5%, but we can just get this the fuck away from us so we don't have to deal with the PR of it or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That is a weird one, honestly.
I had to read this story like 3 times to understand what the fuck was going on, because it was like, oh yeah, well, it was like World of Tanks is no longer going to be available in Russia, and then this company is going to run the Russian version of World of Tanks. And I was like, wait.
Yeah, like, what do you... that was contradictory a little bit.
Yeah, so... here's the quote. Over the past weeks, Wargaming has been conducting a strategic review of business operations worldwide. The company has decided it will not own or operate any businesses in Russia and Belarus and will leave both countries. And so they're closing one of the studios, but then they're just giving over operations to one of the other ones, which is real fucking strange.
Yeah.
And last, before we take a break, let's end on a high note.
Sorry.
Epic. It's funny how there's been a lot of fundraising going on for Ukraine recently. Last week we had a story where Epic said that they were going to donate all of the money that Fortnite made for like a certain amount of time to Ukrainian relief.
Yeah.
And then like the first day, it was like $27 million, like in a day.
Yeah.
Like from Sunday to Monday, it was like $30 million or something. Well, they finished it up, and it's $144 million in 2 weeks.
Did they just buy all of Ukraine just then?
No, it's like, I think Microsoft, I think it's just the Xbox version and Epic, and they were just like,
yo, Epic makes a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, like I've been over this a number of times in the past, but like Epic makes fuckloads of money.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way that you could try to build a competitor for fucking Steam is if you're just like, yeah, man, we could just waste billions, like for no good reason.
Yeah.
We can mostly fund the development of a game like Control. Just so that on the PC, it's on our store for a year.
Yeah.
Like not even full console exclusive, not even full platform exclusive, but just like 1 year platform exclusivity only. But yeah.
Damn, Epic. That's crazy.
Like itch.io had like a bundle, Humble Bundle had like a bundle doing, I think between the two of those over a week of fundraising, they raised like $3 million. Like Epic came out with $144 million in like 2 weeks. So,
oh, you guys are doing charity work? Don't mind if I fucking do.
Yep.
Solved it.
Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah, it's great.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, I have no more stories about Russia, Ukraine. just stories about video games. A lot of complaining left to do.
Nice.
But no actual real world war stories. So
nice.
There you go. We'll see you in a minute. And the coffee is gone.
Oh, no.
Coffee is gone.
I told you weren't going to make it. You were all energetic when we started.
I was too energetic. I needed to hold back.
Yeah.
But I had so many feelings about West Side Story. Okay, so we got a bunch more left to go here. When we last left off, we were talking about Fortnite. Fortnite is always getting the weirdest shit. We're getting Ezio and Ivor skins from Assassin's Creed in Fortnite. So
sure.
The Viking lady and fucking Ezio are going to be in Fortnite. Huzzah? I mean, I don't know.
I guess if you're playing Fortnite, it's nice to just have more things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I guess. I've actually been kind of tempted to go back and play some Fortnite because they put in a new mode where there's no building allowed. So it's just shooting and wall run. And they added like some parkour.
Yeah.
There's like a grappling hook maneuver or whatever. And I'm just like, that guy could maybe hang with that. But I'm just worried at this point that it's like trying to play Overwatch where everybody's so fucking good at it.
Yeah, that is the problem with these multiplayer games is if you're not in and stay in,
yep,
you're out.
I think I'm just going to put another 80 hours into Kerbal Space Program. It's going to be fine.
It's normal. Totally functional, normal thing for somebody to do.
Let's see. Speaking of Ubisoft, we had a bunch of Ubisoft things this week. Ubisoft is apparently making a brand new PvPvE shooter that kind of looks like it might be, I don't know, using some Hyperscape like aesthetics / maybe some assets.
Yeah.
Hyperscape was their battle royale thing that they ran for like a year and then shut down because nobody was fucking playing it because Fortnite existed.
Did we try it? I feel like we tried it.
I played that with Jason. I played a beta of it at some point. That might have been you and I. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was like all in a big cyber city and there was like you throw balls at people and
I feel like yes, but maybe I just watched the video.
It's possible. So yeah, they've got a new thing that they're trying to make called Pathfinder that's going to be like teams of 4 all trying to get to the middle of a map, and there's like big walls that you have to get through, and there's like different ways through the walls, but some of them will be locked, and so you have to figure out how to get through, and then there's actual enemies to fight, but then if you run to the other team, you can fight them, and you're all just trying to kind of race to the middle of the map, which is not a, I mean, like if I have one thing that I think that Ubisoft should be doing, it is not just trying to make the fucking Ubisoft version of everybody else's goddamn video game. So that at least sounds like something different that I haven't heard before. So that's.
Although when you say there's walls separating you out and you have to find a way through it, I just keep thinking about like Kool-Aid Manning through all these walls.
All I keep thinking about is that Juji Ito comic where you got to find the hole that looks like you.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Man, I want to make the world's first Juji Ito multiplayer online video game.
That sounds horrifying. I don't want that game at
Actually,
all.
no, I take it back. What I want is I want a bunch of Fortnite skins that are just the fucked up characters from Juji Ito.
No, but that's going to happen
it's
now.
That really tall lady with the big wide face, like some spiral people, like the lady with the big spiral hair.
Remember one that's like a snail, like
Toby.
her head is the snail?
Yep.
Yeah.
The guy in Uzumaki that turns into the snail.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Fucking Juji Ito's great. Maybe just the big shark with the mechanical legs. Like,
I mean,
you know.
Yeah. Oh, it's there.
Hellstar Arena, just a big giant planet that's eating the Earth, and then
can you imagine you just playing that in Fortnite?
You
plummeting down from the
Hellstar Arena.
God damn it.
God, Juji Ito's great. Yeah. Ubisoft, on the other hand, is not great. Ubisoft is shutting down the current development on Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Oh no.
So there is a new Ghost Recon that is in the works at Ubisoft. The reason that and they're not shutting down the servers. Like the servers for Ghost Recon Wildlands are still up. They're basically adding like their last kind of big dump of different like features and assets and stuff like that. And then it's like, we're not doing development for that anymore. So like, go nuts, have fun, play whatever you want to.
Yeah.
The kind of dark side of this is that Ghost Recon Breakpoint was where Ubisoft decided to launch Ubisoft Quartz, which is their NFT marketplace where they were selling the NFTs. And it's like, okay, so you're not going to be making any more NFTs for Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Like you made a helmet, a gun, and like a couple of other things, and the only thing that was different between them was that they just had like a serial number on them that iterated, and that was the difference. It wasn't even like fucking apes that look stupid in a variety of different ways. It was just like one tactical helmet that has a different serial number on the front of it.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, show off your customized things to people in game. I'm like, who's going to get close enough to read the serial number of my helmet?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. But this story, this particular fact brings us back to Jeff complains about NFTs and crypto.
Yay.
Because like, here's the thing: if you're not going to continue to develop assets for this game that can be sold or traded on the NFT marketplace, what the fuck good is it?
Yeah.
Like, if all you had was this thing that was like a million different guns that all looked exactly the same except for one tiny little pixel,
minute detail, yeah.
then like, what is even the point? It actually got me thinking. I listened to there's a podcast called Reply All, an episode where this girl bought a Justin Bieber NFT bear and then got it stolen from her, and then they went and found the person that bought it off the thief and all this bullshit. And it got me wondering, like, why like if I took a Bored Ape, right, and I downloaded one of the Bored Apes, and then I went up to the upper right hand corner of the picture of the Bored Ape, and I changed the upper rightmost pixel to a color that was different than the pixel.
Yeah.
That is technically a different piece of art that I have created. And could I mint that NFT and just be like, well, no, this one's mine? Like, I could have fucking Paris Hilton's dumb heart glasses ape, and it's like, well, this one's mine. I made this. Because there's no copyright on these. It's the blockchain, right? Well, this one's different. This isn't the same one.
Totally different.
I changed one pixel.
Yeah.
Like, this one's now worth $1 gajillion, I've decided. Anyway, one of the other things that crypto enthusiasts will tell you that I think is just a complete and total rip-off horseshit is that, like, one of the things that you could do with your NFTs is that you could get them in this one game, but then because they're platform independent, you could totally use them in another game. So everybody mark your calendar, and when that new Ghost Recon comes out, if you cannot use the existing NFTs in it, that's some bullshit. Or let's say any other Ubisoft game.
Yeah.
Their Overwatch clone, their Battle Royale Ghost Recon thing that they canceled, the fucking phone game that they shut down with the kind of problematic imagery, the new Assassin's Creed game. Like, okay, you guys have made this weird promise for crypto.
Yep.
Show me how it works, because otherwise it seems like you just did this so that when people sold off the dumb helmet that they bought, that you got your 10% in crypto, and that everybody else lost. The end of the story.
Who would have guessed?
Ubisoft doing something stupid that has no good reason to exist. What?
I cannot believe it.
Also, let us not at all forget the fact that Ubisoft has a front-end fucking software that they run over every single one of their games that keeps track of your progress and your inventory and the items that you have, and that this whole thing could have totally been done on that service with a financial profit to Ubisoft for buying and selling things on an independent marketplace without using something that has to be attached to the fucking eco-terror that is the blockchain and all of its bullshit. Yes.
Indeed.
Second, This actually happened in March, but I didn't catch wind of it, so I'm going to talk about it now. There was a Formula One, it was a thing called F1 Delta Time that was a Formula One car driving game where the rewards that you earned could be, well, you had to use NFTs to get cars, tires, things like of that nature, and then when you won, you would get more crypto for this system or whatnot. So this was officially licensed by F1. By the way, let me just show you what this game looks like. You know, when you think of a racing game, what do you think of?
Oh man, I don't.
A game like, give me an example of a Mario Kart,
like Forza. If you're talking like realistic, otherwise like Mario Kart
or Mario Kart. Right. This is what this game looks like. You play it in a browser. It's top down.
Ew.
You're just like making turns.
That's a red dot. Like, you don't even have the luxury of having a cool car.
Yeah, I mean, like if you zoom in, you can see the car a little bit. Like,
but like that's not even.
It looks like total and complete garbage.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
But one of the things that happened was the F1 pulled their like sponsorship from this game because it was only for a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
So now the NFT of the F1 branded car that you have both doesn't really exist and is unusable because the game is now shut down.
Yeah.
So they did say that you can. That first off. There will be replacing all of the F1 branded cars with equivalent cars, which would seem to me to negate the entire reason why. By the way, this is in like 2019. This was like the top selling NFT of that year.
Yeah.
It was like $100,000 bullshit pretend car.
Yeah.
So that happened. Your cars can be swapped for race pass. Okay, I'm just reading from the thing here because some of this is even Greek to me, and I've like looked at this stuff. Your F1 Delta Time cars can be swapped for a race pass, which is used in staking and gives access to future NFT mints and airdrops.
Oh, that's exciting.
Staking 4.0 will have our largest reward pool yet, 20 million Rev, which I assume is their cryptocurrency. To participate, you will need to use your new Rev racing assets together with a race pass, future staking events to be announced. Like, they have some other games, and it seems like they're trying to spin this as like, you can take these and then like use them to try to bet on NFTs in other games that we have.
Right.
But this is like, I really think that everybody, I don't think anybody listens to this podcast. Actually, that's not true. Last week, there was a video that went up, and in the comment section, I made some, I don't know how the fuck this happened, because I don't know if there was a bot that was like watching the video looking for any mention of cryptocurrency. It might have been the podcast. I don't remember. Anyway, there was a comment that was left that was like, it was obviously from some sock puppet bot account, and it was just like, the pandemic really wiped everybody out, and I'm just like trying to rebuild the assets that I had, like by trying to get in on this exciting new investment opportunity of blah 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 blah, and it was like trying to like throw some guilt at me about just like, oh no, the pandemic fucked my life up, and so I'm going to get out of it with this MLM that I found online.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was like. This sounds like an MLM.
No, dude, like, or lady or whatever. I don't give a fuck.
Robot.
Like, I mean, it's, if you got all fucked up, a lot of people got fucked up by the pandemic, and that's sad, and I don't like that. But like, the way out is not buying into the new scheme du jour that everybody has. Like, again, what if it gets shut down?
Yeah. Then
What if the guy that runs the place gets put in jail and refuses to tell anybody the password for the server?
Yeah.
Or for the blockchain? What if you forget your password? Like,
you
that's happened a bunch of times before. Like when crypto jumped, I read like 8 different stories about people who were just like, I staked some crypto. I fucking mined a few coins a little while back, and now they're worth like $300,000, and I can't remember my password to get into my wallet, and there's no central authority.
Yeah.
So if you forget your password,
you're just fucked.
You're done. What if somebody creates one of these systems that has a password onto the main central authority on the blockchain, and then they die and they don't tell anybody what the password is?
Yeah.
Don't do it. Like, go buy... Go buy like a like an IRA or like
Yeah, right? Like just maybe
like a bond, right? Buy like a 20-year bond, and I swear to God, you'll get 10% back because it's backed by the federal government, right? Like you can't, you may not get money tomorrow, but it'll be real money, and you'll actually get it back, like after a certain amount of time. My God. Lastly, Axie Infinity had an update. Axie Infinity is a like a Pokemon style card battler game.
Yeah.
That is all NFTs and crypto. It's one of the biggest examples of pay to earn, where like you do the battling and then you get cryptocurrency back from it that can then be used to literally cash out into actual money if you can get the whole thing to work.
Yeah.
But they got fleeced for $625 million worth of crypto a little while back.
Jesus.
Because they left some whitelisted like server logins in a place, and somebody got them and then just logged in and fucking like tanked them out.
Yeah.
I think the last week this was one where they had a story where it was
that must have been a hard day at work when they found that out. And they're just, fuck.
Oh no, it happened the day before they had like a conference and a party. I read a whole article about like the guy that runs this fucking scam trying to like, put on a good face at the party for all the people. Because this is this weird thing where there's a bunch of people like in the Pacific, like the Philippines or places like that, in these poor countries that literally are just playing this game to make the money. And they play the game and then they take the money away. But the thing is that you have to be able to buy the Axies, the little characters, in order to play the game, and people can't afford to do that. So what happens is they get like staked by like they call them like scholars, and so that person will be like, okay, I'm going to give you 3 of these, and then I'm going to take 70% of what you earn, and then you can have whatever's left because you can't afford to buy into the system. So it's now like a fucking weird pit boss.
Yeah,
like pyramid scheme thing. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, they got a big $150 million funding round last week. So I guess this bullshit will continue.
Yep.
They're trying to get back. See, the problem, of course, with all this stuff is that like there is no authority. So if somebody tricks you or steals something from you, there is no police to go to because there's no law that says I can't steal your cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
The whole system is designed to keep that from happening. So if it does happen, there is no recourse to like go to somebody and be like, help, I've been robbed for $600 million.
Yeah. Please
contact the men with guns and notepads and shit to go out and find the man or woman or Axie or whatever that took my $600 million and give me back my $600 million.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, you're just, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. You were too stupid.
Yeah.
You
probably should have taken better care of your $600 million.
Yep.
That's the Wild West, baby.
Yep. So, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do the crypto thing.
No.
Don't do it, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
You're better than that. You've got better things to do with your life.
Better things to do with your money.
Better things to do with your money. Yep. Like burn it in a trash can.
Seriously.
Okay. Let's see. From there, I mentioned Roblox before. Roblox has been on my radar a little bit recently.
Yeah.
Because, I know that people probably don't really care that much about Roblox because it's kind of like Fortnite, right? I feel like the general age of people, the emotional age of people who are listening to Rage Select tend to be a little bit older and crotchetier than like your standard,
curmudgeons?
17-year-old TikTok, Roblox, Fortnite teen person. But like Roblox is a platform where people can make games and sell them to each other, and Roblox is primarily used by children.
Yeah.
And Roblox, there was a story a few weeks back that like Roblox doesn't have a full public offering, I don't think yet, but they asked like a financial person to look at just what's going on with Roblox and do an evaluation of like how much Roblox the company would be worth as a company. And if valuation was correct, it would be bigger than Nintendo.
Wow.
Like, this is a huge thing that's happening. And meanwhile, there's like not as many protections for the kids that are doing stuff here.
Right.
Like there was a story about this kid that it was on the same channel that did this other little expose that I watched about this kid who made this thing, and then he ended up getting, and you can't cash out of Roblox until you hit like $1,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
He made this game. It ended up being popular. A bunch of people downloaded it. He got a bunch of credits in the game world, and he ended up using those credits to buy like a hat for his character when it would have been like $3,000 if he'd cashed it out. And he just didn't really fully process that because children's brains aren't put together all the way. Yeah. Like this is not, you can't make children work for money.
Yep.
We have laws against this.
They just profited off of child labor.
Yeah. So there's a story that came out this week that basically talked about an SEC filing saying that the compensation plan for their CEO is going to be an estimated $234 million over the course of 5 years, which is a shitload of money even by CEO standards.
Yeah.
I think I want to bring this up because I'm like, I think people need to keep a better eye on Roblox. And I know that it's not interesting because it's a bunch of fucking babies doing baby shit. But the thing is that there's nobody watching over the babies except for like video game CEOs.
Yeah.
And like, if there's a class of people that you don't want to be in charge of the babies,
yes,
it's the Bobby Kodaks of the world.
The video game CEOs, number one on the list.
Zelnick's or Andrew Wilson's. Those are not the people. These are not the people with the ethical framework to make good decisions about not exploiting the children. Because on the one hand, you can look at it like it's like one of those. It's like one of those like lenticulars, right? Where you move it, there's like a werewolf, but then there's like a nice mom or something.
Yeah.
The mom wolf lenticular. Where it's like, on the one hand, you could frame this as just like, you know what? It's this creative space. Children can go in. They can they can investigate like programming, and they can get they can make their own thing. It's like Legos, right? But the problem is that then there's also the marketplace where they can sell that thing. And then there's also like individuals versus actual teams of young developers that have banded together, or teams of older developers, because it's a marketplace.
Yeah.
So if you make something that's really popular, you can actually make money.
Yeah.
So like experienced developers will come in, and then you've just got like some kid with an idea that cobbles together something, and he just gets fucking creamed. Nobody ever sees it because you've got literal teams of people that are working on this stuff.
Yeah.
And then again, the fact that they can pay you in the in-game credits that you can't get out until you reach a certain goal, and that you can turn around and use those credits right away to pump them right back into the system. And if you think back, they take 75% of all of the profits and give 25% to the babies that are making Roblox games.
Yeah.
And it's like, what part of this is, I keep seeing, last week there was a story about, it was like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and a couple of senators that were writing to the SEC. They needed to like double check the Activision Blizzard Microsoft merger because they're worried about exploiting the workers and the kind of a monoculture of like one company owning too much of the market and whatever. I'm just like, you got Josh Hawley out here talking about NFTs, talking about loot boxes and how they're like corrupting our children. It's gambling for children. I'm just like, why is nobody looking at Roblox?
Yeah.
Like this seems like,
it is weird to have been so overlooked for so long.
Like I didn't know anything about it until like the last few months, where it just keeps kind of drifting across. And then I'll like look into it a little bit more and go like, what the fuck is this? And how's it been around for like 4 or 5 years now? Like, so
yeah,
keep an eye on Roblox, everybody. Roblox, no NFTs.
That's where we're at.
Yep. Let's see. In other weird CEO news, okay. I don't know how much you know about this. I'm not going into it in a great deal of detail, but GameStop stock got bought a little while back by this guy Ryan Cohen. I believe this is the guy that he created Chewy, the pet delivery service.
Okay.
So he had a lot of money, and like GameStop was going down the shitter, and he bought a bunch of the stock from it, kind of was going to take over as a CEO. And then like not long after that, it was when the internet started buying GameStop stock, because the GameStop stock owners were selling it on oh God, what the fuck is it called? Like on margin or something like that, where it's like you.
Yeah, it was when the whole stock market thing was happening, right?
Yeah,
where
yeah.
people were like exploiting the way
Right. So
brokers exploit, and then we're getting.
Yeah, they were buying the stock on options. Options, I think, is where you sell the stock to somebody else, or you borrow against the stock, and then like you need to get it back once it drops in price, and then you get to keep the profit that you made. Except that fucking Redditors were going out and buying GameStop stock in like huge amounts, and then like not letting them buy it back, so then they had to pay off the debts that they owed.
Yeah.
Anyway, this shit has never stopped. And apparently on April 5th, Ryan Cohen tweeted, "You know what happens when I eat too much fruit, ... And apparently the stock Reddit is trying to figure out what this is code for, or what they should do with the stock of GameStop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really even know what to say about this. Like here's one of the things. When he eats too much fruit, he shits on shorts, offered one poster, talking about ongoing bets by some investors that GameStop stock will still fall big time. Or you get them runs, suggested another person, suggesting that
something's wrong with the Redditors that eat fruit. we need a doctor to look in on the Redditors.
Yeah, I'm also just like, how much fruit are you guys eating? Like, I ate a whole thing of grapes the other day. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Yeah,
like,
I'm concerned. You guys need more fiber.
Yeah. So,
you know what happens when I eat Activia yogurt?
I don't. Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
don't.
what do you guys? Why is?
I don't know. It's
them
very
runs.
weird. It's very weird. The Reddits are very weird. So yeah, who knows? GameStop. I mean, I'm a little bit mad that the internet saved GameStop, because
I'm really mad that the
GameStop
internet
needs to fucking go out of business.
Yeah, it was a terrible business, and it deserved. Yes, they deserved to die. And I hope it burns in hell.
I mean, it was a consignment store.
Yeah.
Sort of. Like, it was a pawn shop. Like, they made their money on buying your shit low and then selling it high. And that's, they treated their workers like garbage. And
Hell, they treat their customers like garbage.
Well,
I've
that's
never
true.
seen a company that did everything wrong and still succeeded.
yeah, but I feel like it's this thing where it's just like anything that's around for long enough then develops this weird
Tell that to
nostalgia
Toys R Us.
shield. Yeah. Well, GameStop was dying.
So was AMC. Like the AMC theaters. This is the same thing was happening with the AMC theaters. And I, frankly, was really looking forward to AMC tanking. And as somebody that loves the movie theater industry, would have been really happy to see one of the big chains go down.
Yep.
But no.
I don't. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, people are fucking psychotic.
Yeah, it's
so
a little weird.
The end. Speaking of psychotic motherfuckers and crazy goddamn stories, this is almost certainly. No, wait. There's another one where I got to talk about fucking Nazis. So like, this is just getting
You
demonetized.
said we weren't talking about war stuff.
No. It's not war. It's like stupid internet Nazis. Like not like World War II or anything.
Okay.
So, we are talking about violence though. So, the Electronic Gaming Development Company has purchased 96.18% of Japanese developer SNK on the stock market. SNK makes King of Fighters, Samurai Showdown. This was about $430 million worth of investment. Now, I think that the thing that everybody might be asking is, what the fuck is Electronic Gaming Development Company? It sounds like a bad translation of something.
Yeah.
Electronic Gaming Development Company is a subsidiary of a foundation that is run by Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Now, that name may ring a bell for some people. In, what was it, 2017? Oh God, I need to make sure that I get this in the correct. I need to make sure I get the correct thing here. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. 2018. Okay. October 2018, there was a journalist named Jamal Khashoggi that was from Saudi Arabia and had written some anti-Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, whatever stuff. He was in Turkey. He went to the Saudi embassy in Turkey to get a divorce from his wife, and he was told he had to come back tomorrow to get the paperwork for that, and he came back the next day, and he went in, and he never came out again, and he's fucking dead. And they said for a long time, like, I don't know what fucking happened. He left, and everybody was like, there's cameras all over the place. Like, nobody's. His wife was his fiance that he was trying to marry was waiting outside for him. He went in and never came back out again. And then became this really strange thing where they're like, well, he got really violent, and so we had to sedate him. And then when we sedated him, we used too much sedation, and he died. And then we cut his head off.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Like you do.
All parts of that story, like even if you wanted to take all this at face fucking value, fine. I don't understand why you had to cut his head off at the end of that story. Like if it was an accident, and this guy, I mean, he was an old guy and like a journalist, right? Like he wasn't fucking Chuck Norris, who's also an old guy, but not a journalist. But like, he went in there and, okay, maybe, but then later on, there was another thing that came out that said that like the people that detained him, that he was being explicitly detained to be taken back to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, that's no good. And like, I'm having a hard time coming up with any like justifiably good action for renditioning somebody who went to the DMV for a form, and there were a bunch of dudes in there that were like, you're coming back to this country where like the person that runs it really doesn't fucking like you.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of violence and shit happen. And then somehow he got beat up and sedated and killed, and then his head got chopped off.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the fuck all that happened. And it's like, okay, well, no part of this story makes any sense. Like this guy walked in, you didn't like him. You tried to take him back there. He said he wasn't going to go, and so you killed him in the place.
There's no other way. Unless he came in with a ribbon around his neck, and y'all were like, got to take that ribbon off. And as soon as he pulled the ribbon off, his head just fell right the fuck off.
Holding it.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure there's not a good way for this story to end.
Yeah. So, this is a shame because SNK is a cool company, and I like them. This, though, also is kind of everybody should go look at this stuff for themselves. I'm not saying one way or the other. I don't really know anything about Saudi politics. I know this one story, mostly because Philip DeFranco was talking about it for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clearly documented that, like, this dude ain't no good and probably had this dude killed because he didn't like the things he was saying about him.
Yeah.
He also, this is well documented. There's a lot of business activity in Saudi Arabia trying to use their current oil money to divest themselves of the need to rely on oil money because oil is finite and will eventually run out. There's a whole thing that you can look up. I don't know if you've ever seen this NEOM thing. NEOM, capital NEOM. It's like this city that they're building in the desert. That's like it's referred to as like a free trade zone or something like that. And it's like the entire place is being built from the ground up with like cutting edge technology. So like there's like moving walkways and like all these different hydroponics things and like fully solar powered and using all this stuff. And then it's supposed to be used as a place to like create like cutting edge manufacturing. And then the people can live there in this really kind of futuristic city in a way to basically create like new types of exports. And they're putting a lot of money into that. There's a lot going on there. And this just appears to be one of those things where it's like, you're just trying to buy this company that makes something that is beloved. I mean, the way that other game companies are getting sold right now, $430 million is actually not that big of a
it's not like
huge price tag. Like, especially for somebody that is as rich as, a fucking
with that
dynastic
fuck you
heir.
money.
So, not great. I'm not going to the embassy anytime soon.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably don't do that. But if you don't believe me, you can look into this stuff and make your own decisions. I kind of try to boil everything down to the most simple thing, which is what I do with the NFTs and all the rest of the stuff.
I mean, this
is
clearly could be an entire, like, for a different podcast, an episode dedicated exclusively to this. This is
there's
just our
so much information about
quick and dirty of it.
Yeah, but like I just don't think there's a. I'll pull in a Sherlock Holmes here, where it's like I guess there's possibly some other explanation, but the journalist you hated walked into a building that you controlled and you said you got to come back tomorrow. And then when he came back, like 2 dudes beat him up, drugged him to death and cut off his head.
Yeah.
Like there's not a very good explanation to me about like how that happened.
Yeah.
Outside of like, you wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Okay. Let's see. From there, we have a controversial but decidedly less gruesome story. So there is a game called Paranoia: Happiness is Mandatory. There's I think this is a board game or like a RPG, like a D&D style game called Paranoia. And it's like this dystopian kind of 1984 future, but it's sort of wacky and there's all this kind of panopticon stuff and this weirdness. And there was a game that was made a little while back called Paranoia: Happiness is Mandatory. And it was like this kind of weird, like kind of top down, like management sim where you were trying to like kind of stay on the level, but then also like get out of this kind of weird dystopian nightmare factory kind of place.
Yeah.
It was strange. I actually downloaded it, but I never played it because it was always didn't run really well. It got delisted. Currently, I mean, like this game came out, and now it's on Steam. It says like coming soon, but there are some court documents that came out that showed the reason why this probably happened, and it allows me to bring up. I feel like I'm the one person on the internet with this hobby horse. There's a company called Nacon. Nacon used to be called Big Ben Interactive. They're now called Nacon Entertainment. They are the people that put this out. And apparently the reason that it like went out and then went off really quickly is because the actual IP rights owners for Paranoia saw a build of this game and they were like, this is not good enough. Like you will be damaging the brand of Paranoia if you release this game.
Yeah.
Apparently the company came back to them and they said, with another build, and they pushed back the release date and they said, no, that's still not good enough. And then Nacon just kind of went ahead and put it out anyway. And now there's like court documents that seem to indicate that they basically like legally kind of took it down as the rights holders.
Yeah.
Which would at first glance make it interesting that there's still a page for it on Steam that says coming soon. Actually, no. I'm a little confused. This was on the Epic Game Store. That's why I remember it. Now, Nacon, if that name rings any bells, is the company that fucked over Frogwares about the sinking city and stole their game and didn't pay them.
Yeah.
And when Frogwares contacted Steam and DMCA'd their own game off of the platform, Nacon literally bought a version of their game from another online retailer, went into the code and stripped out all of Frogwares' like logos and identification and like in the credits and stuff like that, and then like reposted that as their own game to like game stores online. Nacon is a big pile of shit. They like there was a whole thing with Frogwares. Okay, so I don't think this
doesn't even show up when you search
is available on Epic Game Store. They appear to be an incredibly slipshod and unscrupulous publisher that does not pay the people money that they owe, and also appears to do things like list a game that they don't have the permission to sell, or put out a game that the people who like have the rights to tell you not to do that tell you not to do that. They appear to be an incredibly unscrupulous publisher, and I don't like them. So
that's shitty. That's some shitty shit.
It's a bag of crap. Big bag of crap. All right. What do we got next? Oh, right. Those Nazis.
Oh, God. I forgot we were going to talk about Nazis.
Well, okay. So, No Man's Sky apparently had This is a little bit of a story. It's kind of a story, kind of a non-story. It brings up some interesting stuff. We don't have a shitload of time to talk about it, but No Man's Sky currently has these like multiplayer arenas where like a bunch of people are all getting onto a planet. They have a thing called the Galactic Core. That's like a series of 11 or 12 planets where people are doing specific projects on them. And apparently there was one person that was being a real fucking dickweevil about this, who was building, like, if you started building something, they would start building something beside you, and they would build their building up and then start encircling your building with their building and then closing off sections of your building so that you couldn't get to it anymore.
Yeah.
And there's like a report tool. But apparently the report tool that Hello Games had a problem where if you reported something that had already been reported, it would come up with like an error 500. Like it would error out instead of actually like saying
Sending
like, like it had already been sent, but it hadn't been addressed yet. But when you try to do a duplicate, this would happen. Now, apparently you can report people and then their stuff will be basically hidden in your game. But this whole story is about their community of people who are just like this small community of people that are trying to chill out and play this one game that they really like.
Yeah.
Trying to get this person banned, and the fact that like it took time, and during that time this person was wreaking havoc. By the way, if people want to know, that it's the I don't know if people know this or not. I don't know if this is going to get this podcast demonetized or whatever, but there's a number. This number is 1488, which was like this person's screen name, which is like, you can go look it up. It's like a specific Nazi connotation. It's like one of those internet identifiers of like, if you see this number, then that's it's like the dumb okay hand symbol thing of just like, oh yeah, this person is this person, this kind of person. And that was the username of the person that was doing all this bullshit. It does bring up an interesting question. It appears that No Man's Sky does not have like the most quick and robust reporting / ban system, because it was kind of all bolted together a little bit at a time. So like they knew that this was happening, but apparently they didn't immediately take action because Hello Games was trying to get that person banned at an account level. Yeah. Through like and because it's cross-platform, they were trying to get them banned from like Xbox and Steam and Nintendo and PlayStation, all of them simultaneously. And so it took some time. In the meantime, this person was still running around doing havoc. And it brings up an interesting question of like whether you want your administration team to have to go through a manual review and then it takes longer, or have an auto ban just on the word of whoever does the banning, which could potentially be used as a weapon against people that you don't like. Yeah. So
which happens all the time.
Yeah. If anybody's interested, you can go check it out. Yeah. Oh my God. So many things.
Yeah, there are.
Okay, here we go.
Speed run.
Elden Ring had a 1.03 patch that had nerfed Star Scourge Radahn, one of the greatest bosses in all of video games.
Is that the guy with the tiny horse?
Yep. He learned the gravity magic so that he could have his tiny horse between his legs. Yeah. And it made him less powerful. And that was a mistake. Yeah. And so they updated it, and now he is back to being the same bullshit piece of shit that he is before. Halfway through the fight, Star Scourge Radahn will go up into the air and become a meteor that just comes from wherever you're not pointing the camera.
Yeah, it ruins your fucking day.
And if it hits you, you're dead. Yeah. But it does have one of my favorite things in all of Elden Ring. This is not a spoiler for the game. It's just a fun thing. There are a lot of summons in Star Scourge Radahn's
Oh, you
fight.
showed me this.
Yeah, and if you summon Patches in, he immediately leaves.
He's like, haha, deuces, baby.
He comes in, he looks at Radahn and is like, no, sir. Somebody in the Discord shared this this really cool like picture. It's like an artwork. I really wish I could find it. I even tried reverse image searching it of Star Scourge Radahn and like the fight, and it's got like the player character and all the different people you can summon, and then it's got Patches running the opposite direction.
That's amazing.
I really want this though. I would totally put this shit on my wall.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
It's really good. So Radahn is back. Good job. Battlefield 2042 is is coming along. There was a new
exciting
blog post indicating, this is so weird, like indicating changes to geometry and spawn times, and like they're lowering the number of vehicles from 3 tanks and 3 airplanes to 2 and 2. It's weird because like I just wanted to mention this because I looked at this and it's like, oh, here's a thing where previously there was a huge distribution center in this area and we're going to take it out to make travel between areas of the map like have less friction.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is the thing you have a beta for. This is why you have a beta.
Yeah.
Is to figure stuff like this out before the game launches, not like 5 months after the game launches.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Just, this is Jeff's friendly reminder number 1000. Like, don't pre-order. I'm not saying anything. I mean, I will say anything, but at the very least, don't pre-order the next Battlefield game.
Yeah, for real.
I don't care how good the trailer looks. Wait for it to come out first and then see if it's a piece of shit or not. You can always buy it after it comes out. They're not going to run out of copies of Battlefield.
Yeah.
The end.
We live in an age where they're not going to run out of the fucking game you want.
Yes. Even if you want a physical copy.
Yeah.
You may have to wait a day. But like, yeah. Horizon Forbidden West got a really cool update. They've got some new patches that fix some different things and blah, 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 blah. But one of the things that this does, I think is really awesome, is you can just go into the general page and you can turn off the animation for Aloy to pick stuff up because you're constantly picking up like things to make arrows and like potions and stuff. And you can turn off the like I have to stop and put my hand out and grab the stick animation. It doesn't work for like when you're gutting dinosaurs or like opening a chest or anything like that. But it just means that like, yes, you're going to be doing this a million times.
You don't have to watch the animation.
You don't have to see it slow down.
Time, yeah.
You just go through and like hoover up the materials that you need. So yeah, turn that on.
Smart.
I need to decide whether I'm going to go back and play this game or not. After playing Elden Ring, the idea of playing an open world game where I open up the map and there's a billion icons on it just gives me like the hives. I'm just like,
I can't go back.
I can't go back, man. Dying Light 2 is getting a new game plus mode later this month, which is cool. I didn't actually play Dying Light 2 because it came out too close to Elden Ring.
Yep.
And
sorry.
Yeah. And now I'm done with Elden Ring, except I'm kind of
not.
You're
like 2 years away from being done with Elden Ring.
It takes even longer than that. It's going to take so long, you guys. I mean, when Dark Souls 3 came out, I was talking about that for like 4 years. I'm still talking about Sekiro.
I'm like, you're still talking about it.
Yeah.
We all know how long, Jeff.
I know.
We've all been hearing it.
THQ Nordic is doing their own press conference this year, and it's happening on August 12th. They put out a little teaser, I guess, for like their digital showcase. It didn't really show anything that we haven't already seen, which is like that SpongeBob game and like that Outcast sequel and like Kingdoms of Amalur and like the THQ Nordic is a really weird company.
They are, yeah.
I don't know why they have Biomutant in here. It's like, but Biomutant was bad. Like nobody liked it.
Maybe they're like better Biomutant.
Maybe there's a new Biomutant.
One that you'll like. We promise.
All right, let's get into stuff that people do like.
Yay!
Star Wars came out. We got a launch trailer, for the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, which it looks so like you get all of the games. I just fucking wish it wasn't Lego.
Yeah.
Like it looks, and the Legos look really good this time around. They're all like shiny and they've got all this nice lighting and stuff on them. And they've got all these they've revamped all the different Star Wars games and you can play through the entire thing. And that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Lego games are kind of awesome, but I never want to play them. But then when I play them, I'm like, this is cool. So, I don't know.
I have a friend that plays all the Lego games, and she just wants something she can come home and just grind through. Like, open up a FAQ. Where are all the gold bricks? I'm going to this level. I'm going to get all the gold bricks.
Yeah.
It looks really good, though. I don't know. We'll have some videos up on it Monday, Tuesday. It is funny, though, to watch them try to find moments from
The movies.
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
That don't suck.
Modern. Yeah, I mean, there's some in there.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, they do all the memes. They did.
I mean, you have to. The hello there.
Yeah, the Obi-Wan.
General Kenobi.
Are you at all excited for the Obi-Wan show?
No.
No?
No.
No?
I have since become jaded and far removed from giving a shit about anything big and epic. So anything like Star Wars, Marvel, Disney, I don't care. I feel nothing. John watched The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett without me because I was just like, I can't muster the strength to care anymore. Though having said that, they did come out with the Hasbro toys came out with a design for a Princess Leia figure based on the Marvel comics that they did fairly recently.
Okay.
And it looks fucking amazing and I want it. That's the only thing I've been excited for is like a Princess Leia figure. I already have a Princess Leia figure and I'm like, a secondary Princess Leia figure.
2 Princess Leia
I
figures.
To double up on Princess Leia.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm probably going to the other problem that I have is that Star Wars is also kind of filed under Marvel, where it's just like, you guys haven't shut the fuck up about this for like years now.
It's going to be a while before I care. I think it'll be a hot min.
We got 30 minutes of the Quarry, which is this new super massive.
I tried to sit through this
games,
and I've decided that their people. Have the teeth.
Too many teeth.
The teeth and the gums, like they've got real gummy mouths, and I just keep staring at their mouths when they're talking.
Just chewing on air.
I fucking hate it. Everything else about them is fine. Like, sure, a little uncanny valley, I can look past it, but they just got these mouths.
Yep.
And I can't look away from them. I don't even care about the rest of it.
It's also, I'll be honest, I actually did not watch all of this because I wanted to play the game when it comes out.
Yeah, I was telling John that too. I was like, I'm going to watch you play it, and I don't want to watch the first half hour and then have to rewatch the first half hour.
Yeah, unless you could just be like, do the other thing. Do the other thing.
Yeah, that's also it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a fucking Supergiant game, all right. So
look at her fucking mouth.
It's the uncanny valley.
It
is what it is.
But usually, to me, the uncanny valley falls within the eyes.
Yeah.
The fact that it's within the mouth makes it creepier.
Yeah.
Because it's just like fucking teeth and shit. Blech. Anyway, I'm in it for Ted Raimi and Ted Raimi alone. Always. Let it be known, if a Raimi's involved, I'm gonna watch it or I'm gonna play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else is in there? It's
David Arquette. There's like younger actors.
Yeah.
I can't think of any of their names, but
Brenda Song from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and Dollface. Yeah. Anyway, looks fine. It looks like, I mean, it's kind of interesting that this company just keeps making the exact same game over and over again, and everybody's just like, fuck it, I'm there for it. So,
I mean, yeah.
You know.
Whatever.
Trek to Yomi got a 15-minute gameplay trailer. I'll be honest, I did watch all of this, and it kind of bummed me out a little bit.
Really?
Well, it's just it's very repetitive.
Yeah.
And like having the game in your hands where you have to play, and if you don't push the buttons right, you're going to die is one thing, but like it's very kind of simple to watch, and it also is not entirely clear exactly everything that's happening with the sword play, and so it's like, well, I don't really understand what the stakes are. I don't really understand like how it's going to be to play, so I'm just kind of watching this guy just like move to the right and kill dudes with sword. Yeah,
I have a feeling it's going to be more fun to play than it is to watch.
Yeah.
Although it does look very cinematic, so maybe it will be fun to watch when you're not watching the grindy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's
just the like journey stuff, but once you're like within the story, it's a little.
It depends on how it feels, because otherwise, I mean, like there's just a lot of samey looking fights in here, but it could just be because I'm looking at it, not playing it. So.
Yeah, for sure. It still looks really pretty, though.
Yeah, I mean,
I love it. I love that it's in black and white. I love that it looks really cinematic.
Any part that has cutscenes looks really good. You know, and it's Devolver and Flying Wild Hog. Like, Flying Wild Hog made Shadow Warrior, and Devolver Digital is my fucking favorite. So
it's my boo. Yeah, it's not going to be a bad game. It just might not be the great game that we want it to be.
Sure, which is something that's happened with Devolver before. It's like you got like My Friend Pedro was like, it was fine.
Yeah,
I didn't finish it, but it was fine.
Yeah. They don't make bad games.
No.
But sometimes they don't make my game.
Yep. I'm super excited for Dream Settler, Amanda.
I don't know what Dream Settler is. I watched this trailer and was like, I know less now than ever before.
So, a few years back, there was a game called Hypnospace Outlaw. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, or I think Matt and I played it. So what Hypnospace Outlaw was this game that was basically like there was an internet for dreams in the early 90s, and there was a guy that was like a internet dream cop, and you had to go into this thing that looks like AOL from 1993.
Yeah, it's all very familiar.
And then you had to go to people's like web pages. 99, I guess. You had to go to people's like web pages and then like suss out. Like you started off by being like you're like a cop where you're like looking for like copyright infringement. You have to like do it. But as you go on, you find out that this is a copy of this entire internet that was made because at a certain point, a bunch of people had seizures and died. And so they shut it down.
Yeah.
And you're like literally going back through stuff in the past and trying to figure out, no, that happens in the game. And then it like has a jump, but it's really cool because it's got all this different, like it's very much like, it's a good facsimile of 1999 internet websites.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different characters that you get to know through like looking at early web rings and like blogs. There's like a whole Pokemon thing in there. You have to like buy antivirus software. You have to solve these mysteries.
Yeah.
It's a really fun little game.
Yeah.
So they're making a sequel, and that's what this is. The sequel is Dream Settler, which takes place in like the 2000s. And I was looking through it and I was like,
oh my God.
Oh, right. Because like, if you look at the, it's like, oh man, there's that chunky blue Windows XP like theme.
Oh my God. I'm getting flashbacks.
And yeah. And so it's like,
oh my God.
an early 2000s version of the internet.
This hurts my heart
with the whole thing. And Hypnospace Outlaw was really fun, and I'm glad that they're just kind of like expanding on that a little bit.
Yeah. Lean into that weirdness, you freaks.
Yeah, which is cool. I like the fact that all of their branding and everything just looks like it's from
2000. Yeah.
But then that wasn't the only game that No More Robots announced, because they also announced this game called Slayers X Terminal Aftermath Vengeance of the Slayer. So there's a character in Hypnospace Outlaw called Zane Rocks, which is like a 13-year-old piece of shit. And like he griefs other people, and he's super in love with like the goth girl that's on there, and she like bans him, and he's like, bleh. So the whole concept of this is that in the Hypnospace Outlaws days of 1999, Zane Rocks made his own video game
where he is the hero.
And then he found that in like a shoebox in 2022 and quote unquote remastered it and put it on Steam. And so it's this really chunky, bad, like MS Paint.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw this trailer, I was like, "What the fuck is Jeff sending me?" Like, I get it, but I didn't understand the context of it. But I was just like, "This is like Duke Nukem, but like dumber," and I don't know how to explain that to people.
Yep. It looks really silly. I mean, it looks like something a 13-year-old made in the 90s.
Yeah, 100%. So, but it's just like, oh God, I don't know.
Look at these poop enemies
monsters and
I can't wait to play this, because I'm sure it's going to just be like $10 or something. It's going to be fucking great. And it's just
you wouldn't pay $60 for this game, Jeff?
No. Such a Duke Nukem ass looking video game.
It really does.
No, it looks like a mod for Duke Nukem where somebody's like, oh man, I put Best Buy in a Duke Nukem multiplayer map.
Yeah. God.
It's fucking great.
Yeah. It looks dumb.
It's so good. So,
but in like a good way.
Zane Rocks is anybody who played Hypnospace Outlaw heard that name and was just like, oh God. I remember Zane. On the other hand, Forgive Me Father is an actual video game that came out that actually looks quite a bit like Slayers X. I mean, it looks better. But this is like a horror themed kind of retro throwback first person game, which looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I thought the like cutscenes, everything looking kind of flat.
Yeah,
was a nice look for it.
It's got some like real heavy dark lines around the edges.
Yeah.
Lots of blood and gore and monsters, but then like kind of an interesting. I feel like I've seen this happen a lot recently, where it's like using modern lighting but on old looking flat levels, and so it ends up looking better.
Yeah. It was cool. I thought they looked neat. I don't know if it'd be something I'd ever play, but it looked good.
Yeah, and that came out this week.
Yeah.
Let's see. We also had Rainbow Six is coming to phones.
Oh yeah.
So
Neato Toledo.
That's what it do. What I said is that's the story. There's a Rainbow Six on phones. I already think Rainbow Six Siege I don't really understand why it's popular, and I don't like it. And this is a phone game version of that same thing.
Yeah.
So
waste space on my phone.
Never let it be said that Ubisoft can pass up an opportunity to rip off somebody else's good idea in order to do their own thing. And then let's see, last in the trailer category, we got a trailer for the PS4, PS5 version of No One Saves the World, which is coming later this month, and then is also adding local co-op to the original, which was on Xbox and Game Pass.
Nice.
So, yeah, I was a little bit let down by this because this was made by Drinkbox, and it's the first game they've made. They made Guacamelee and then Guacamelee 2.
Right, okay.
And it was like, that
explains why I kind of like the art.
Fine, and I kind of like the concept, but it's not the funnest game in the world to play.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it looked good, but I was not intrigued by it. Like, I wouldn't want to play it.
Yeah.
But I like the art.
Let's see. We got a release date for Dune Spice Wars. The big 4X game is coming into early access April 26th. And with that, we also got the announcement that there's going to be 4 factions. Going to be the Harkonnens and the Atreides and the Fremen and then the Smugglers. And we got the Fremen are going to be led by Liet Kynes, which it looks like they're using kind of the movie version because the book version is just like a fucking white dude or whatever. And then that's going to have Cheney in there. So I don't know. I have such mixed feelings about this because I love Dune, but I don't like 4X games all that much. And like the art style looks really good, but like it's just going to be like a simulator game. And
but what else would you? I guess. What else would you do for a Dune game?
Well, Dune 2 was like the world's first RTS. That was Westwood made that back in the day.
That's true.
There was another Dune game that was more of kind of like an adventure game. It's hard to say, right?
Yeah.
Because like the main crux of Dune is Paul Atreides, like, going to the Fremen and escaping from the Harkonnens and doing whatever. And you run into that weird Lord of the Rings thing where it's like, well, do I want to write a bunch of scenarios where that doesn't happen? And if it does happen, then the player who plays this is already going to know what to do.
Yeah.
So like, what? So
yeah.
Honestly, the way to go is with that. Somebody took like all the art from one of the Dune adventure games and made it into a sex game.
Of course they did.
Where you just like you have to do the actual like management part of fending off the Harkonnens, but then in between you can just fucking go bone everybody in the desert.
Nice.
So, 2 Point Campus has been delayed until August.
Aw.
May 17th was when it's going to come out. Now it's coming out August 9th.
No, it's not too bad actually.
Yeah, it's a bummer. But as I've said a few times in the past. I'd rather the game be good than come out later than be broken and come out now. So
yeah. Also, I hate crunch time, so I don't want a bunch of overstressed workers. I'd rather wait for a game.
Yep. And apparently Valve is last but not least, we got a few more things, but Valve is ramping up production on the Steam Deck, which is good. Because we're running into Q2, so the pre-order slots were determined by what quarter, as you added on, you got added on to whatever the next quarter was.
Right.
Q1 went really good. It seems like they've managed to see how well Q1 went, and they're ramping up the number of orders that they're going to be able to take and put out in Q2.
Yeah, I've still have not purchased mine. But I have been emailing Gabe to see if he'll give me one.
Okay.
No,
just directly.
Yeah.
Hey!
You said he reads all his emails.
Except for Amanda.
Yeah, he's like, another one? Spam. Red flag.
Yeah.
Marcus. Junk.
Boy, I put these in the wrong order, but we got another mod out there that adds ray tracing to the first 3 levels of Doom.
Oh yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Like, it's kind of interesting the way that like Doom was never, like they never set up any universal lighting, so everything is super dark unless there's like a explosion or a like a fireball from an imp or something like that.
Yeah.
But it looks kind of cool. Like, it definitely, I mean, again, this is kind of like going back to the Unreal thing where it's just like, it's kind of amazing what just like changing up your lighting will do.
Yeah.
Even if everything else remains exactly the same. Like,
It's kind of, yeah, it's neat. I like it.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't. It's just weird to me that people are very like, and now you can play Doom.
Yeah.
You know, the first one, and it's like people are still playing it.
Well, not even the whole game, just the first 3 levels.
Yeah, I don't know.
So.
It's cool, but also like, why simultaneously? Why?
I think it's kind of one of those things where it's like, it used to be the thing, right? Is can you get Doom to run on it? Like,
Yeah.
Can I get Doom to run on this fridge? Can I get Doom to run on this car? You know, yeah. And last but not least, a Kirby story from
Kirby.
Amanda. So the title of this is Kirby is officially the only Nintendo character to win a Grammy Award.
Do you know how many people text me when Kirby won a Grammy?
Oh shit, you knew about this already?
I knew that he won a Grammy. I didn't even look it up. I don't know much about it. All I know is that so many fucking people came up to me, my coworkers.
Yeah.
I have a Kirby tattoo, so like I'm known as the Kirby person.
Apparently the whole thing was that Kirby, like there was a band called the 8-Bit Big Band that had an arrangement of a version, like a big band version of Metal Knight's Revenge from Kirby Superstar, and that won the best arrangement, instrumental, or a cappella award at the Grammys.
Yep. Yes.
I'm so disconnected that I didn't know this happened until I just looked at news. But like,
Yeah.
What a weird thing!
Yeah.
What a weird thing, and I don't know. Like, I've never heard of that category before. Like, it's very strange.
I don't know. I didn't know that category existed until this, but yeah.
Have you tried listening to any of it?
No.
It's pretty good.
I really just want Kirby to win an Oscar now, so
You want Kirby to EGOT? Is
yeah.
that what you're telling me?
Yeah, 100%. Are you kidding me? Let's do it. Kirby the musical.
Yep.
Kirby the movie musical.
Yep. I saw a thing where they, I hope they change it. Stupid fucking American rights holders. Did you know that there's a live action stage adaptation of Spirited Away in Japan?
Yes.
Where they have like little people doing puppets for the various characters.
I've seen clips from the puppets.
Yeah. Apparently, it is on Japanese Hulu in its entirety, but not American Hulu. So I think I might open up my old VPN and see if I can figure that out. But while I do that, before I do that, we got to wrap this podcast up. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Whew. This podcast, I mean, it's not that much longer than a normal podcast, but good Lord.
Yep. It always takes a lot out of you.
It does. It's just so much.
The emotional labor we do for you people.
There's so many things to scream and yell and bitch about on the internet. Yeah. Patreon.com/Rachelight, I guess. I don't know. Amanda, you got anything? You got any parting words of wisdom for the people of Rachelight?
No, don't leave that. Don't you put that on me.
Don't buy an NFT.
Yeah. Don't pre-order games. Don't buy NFTs.
Yeah, that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Probably drink some more water. Yeah, everybody probably needs to do that.
Send us coffee.
Yeah.